Yo, what's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the podcast, another episode of Caffeine and Green with your man, Cajon Cardenas. And per usual, I just want to make sure that you guys are heading to the brand new brick and mortar coffee shop. I mean, it's not too brand new. We've been here for 8 months tomorrow. So guys, cruise on in. 3072 El Cajon Boulevard, right here in the heart of North Park. That's right. We are open Tuesday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and Sundays on 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Mondays we're closed for roasting, so we can bring all the amazing coffee to all you amazing people around San Diego County and around the world. So guys, cruise on in. Come on in. We'll make you a latte. We'll get you, any of the retail or any of the merch that you like to see on the website or just on Instagram. So guys, again, like I said, Caffeine and Green, 3072 El Cajon Boulevard. Pull up today. All right. My guest today is Mike D. Mike D from the Heavy Breathing Foundation. I actually just did a collaboration with them. Had the gnarliest logo that I've ever seen that I actually put on a coffee bag, and I was super in love with it. It was super, super rad. It was out there. It was different, and that's what I'm about. And, Mike came through. He had a very, very interesting story. And for the first time ever in 70-something episodes, I actually got a little emotional. It was heavy. I didn't cry, but it got me emotional. And, I think if you guys listen to it as well, I think it'll have that same effect. So without further ado, my man, Mike D. This is your time to shine, homie. Let's go. Give me caffeine and green. It's your boy Connor. What's good? Good. Caffeine and green. And we're live. Mike D.
What's up?
Welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Cheers.
Cheers.
Got you. Boom.
My girl does.
Oh, there you go.
Like this.
Yeah, G, that's how you do it.
Yeah, I always make fun for the artisanal craftsmanship.
Oh, bro, you're in the artisanal craftsmanship spot here, son. That's what we do. So if you really want to check it out, right. This could be for your wife. Mm-hmm. You swirl it, okay? Uh-huh. You look at the color. You notice the color? Okay. It's pretty red. It's a little dark. You start to see the lines. You swirl it around a little bit. You're looking for the viscosity in the wine. So take a sip. You take a smell. Take a sip, and then watch the legs. You start to see the legs, and the legs is the viscosity in the wine. Oh, okay. And you're able to see just, how good it is, and it's kind of like with coffee and or beer.
Right.
There's always going to be lines left. There's always lines left. And then you let it breathe a little bit. You can let it sit, let it breathe, and it starts to open up. And then when it starts to open up, you can start to tell the flavors. There might be some different, more alcohol, winey flavors that are going to be present if it's a brand new open bottle. But then if, you let it breathe for anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes, then it really starts to open up and you can get some cherry, some orange.
5-10 minutes.
If you want. I
hear you.
But yeah, for the price point, like I was saying, this is my favorite wine.
Pretty good.
It's a red, and then I have a white in the back. And then, of course, I have some Seek beers. Shout out to all the homies over at Seek. But anyways, sorry. Dude, oh, whoa. Does that say? So I was wondering what it said on the tattoo on your head. It says heavy.
It says heavy.
Okay, we're going to get into that. So for everybody who can't see, introduce yourself. You are Mike D, right?
I'm Mike D from the Heavy Breathing Foundation and MDSM.
Okay. And what does MDSM stand for?
Most Dedicated Strength Methods. That's my coaching platform.
That's your coaching platform.
Right.
And for everybody, for all of our listeners around the world, can you please explain what the Heavy Breathing Foundation is?
The Heavy Breathing Foundation is my 501c3 nonprofit here in San Diego, California, and we help at-risk individuals rediscover themselves or find confidence through the barbell or strength sports in general.
Can you pour the mic down just a little?
Right here?
This thing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Point it more to... There you go. Perfect.
That better?
Yeah, that's better.
All
right. So for everybody who doesn't know what you just described, and then if they can find your Instagram, on the Heavy Breathing Foundation, you guys have amazing photos. You have the black and white look, and it looks intense. You guys are in this gym, you're lifting every day.
Right.
And are you helping disadvantaged youth? Are you just helping anybody who needs help with recovery? What is it? Is there any limit to the people you're helping, or?
So we help the youth. We do push for K through 12 because we have received grants for that. specifically for helping, like I said, K through 12. And with that, we're more trying to help them get on the right path to kind of avoid becoming at risk. And I mean by that is, for example, when I was growing up, I always liked weights. But to get into weight room at the schools, I had to play sports. But I didn't like playing sports. I just wanted to lift weights, but then I couldn't get in the weight room. So it was on the way home, I would find myself getting into trouble, and it kind of led me down like a bad path, right? Mm-hmm. And so what we're trying to do is offer programs or mentorship, and it's not just straight with the barbells. There's all kinds, there's a whole lot of different types of sports, Highland Games, powerlifting, strongman, that we can use to help build confidence in the kids when they're like going up into high school, when like, you know, stuff starts getting real. That's when it started getting real with me, like the outside world, like I should say. And then like for me, when I had to rediscover myself through when I got clean and stuff like that, a lot of stuff they tried to teach me in AA, NA, and even the schools growing up didn't make sense till I found the barbell, right?
Really?
So yeah, and because everyone kept trying to, you know, tell me is like, you know, you gotta be honest with yourself, consistent with this stuff, patient, willing, all that. That formula is a winning formula, but it didn't make sense till I found strength sports. So I'm trying to deliver that formula with the kids at a younger age, so you can go into high schools and find sports or like, you know, physical activity or strength sports to be a supplemental tool to keep them on the right path. Now with like older people, we're more like I said with the kids, more of a supplemental tool to keep them on the right path, as in like they already kind of been through it, because I can't save no one's life. You can't come in here and be like, hey Mike, I'm addicted to this. I'm like, okay, you should go find a program, get a sponsor, or go into something and start working on yourself before coming into the foundation, because I need you to already be wanting it for yourself and show some dedication before I can come take you on. So like we'll help people with like financial assistance with like getting the gym pass they can't afford it at first, you know, maybe pay their way to competition, equipment to be in the gym and stuff like that. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it was cool with the kids because we can be a little bit more broad with what we do. Like we're up there in Oceanside, we're about to be voted into the Oceanside Unified School District. I've been working with Jefferson Middle School since I want to say right around Thanksgiving. I've been going there 2 days a week, Tuesday, Friday, during lunchtime, hanging out for 90 minutes, and just getting to know, like, I mean, just the way I look, if I sit down somewhere, the kids are going to kind of pop around and start asking questions, right?
Yeah.
So
you look like an interesting person to be like, who is that guy?
Yeah, it's like, who's that dude completely blasted head to toe talking to my vice principal? My vice principal's cool to him, you know? And like cool with him being here. Like you see everyone else that looks like that, we chase off, right?
Well, dude, you have a tatted hairline.
Yeah, you know?
Dude, yeah. And it's like it goes all the way around and down your sideburns, yeah.
Yeah, all the way around, down here too, on my chin. Yeah, on my chin. So you can see.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, they call me Mike Dusa because I got the 14 snakes on my head.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but at school the kids call me Metal Mike and stuff like that. But
Metal Mike.
Yeah, whatever. I don't like it, but it's cute for them. You know, I walk through the halls and Metal Mike and come hang out. But like hanging out with them at lunch, I mean, it's not always just playing like basketball. I'll bring like some of our volunteers with us too. We'll sit down and do art with them. You know, just get them moving, talking, but just learning what their individual needs are. And it's like find out like, hey man, or find out like some of these kids are coming to see, noticing these kids are coming to school every day in the same thing, or like every time I see them they're wearing the same outfit. So I'll like bring my clothes from MDSM or heavy breathing, anything I have left over from drops, and be like, hey guys, you want to gamble and like play basketball with them? Now I ain't gonna be running around. I'll make them challenge me at horse, and whoever wins gets a tee, you know. And then you know, put them in some fresh clothes. Seeing like some of these kids that have, you know, need a haircut, setting up a thing where we bring the barber in to give them haircuts and stuff like that.
Damn, really?
Yeah, we're gonna have that going on. And then Black Sheep Barber up there in San Marcos, he has a shop in Escondido too. He's already down to do it. So we're just waiting to get back from winter break right now, and then we'll line that up where like the barbers will volunteer their time, and we get the permission slips out there to the parents to do it. But I mean, they've already met me, a lot of them, you know, because we even like Thanksgiving, we found out like staff. Another foundation came through and couldn't supply for the staff meals that they were promised, and we ended up raising like $900 in an hour and fed like 8 families for Thanksgiving.
Boom.
You know, yeah. Through MDSM and heavy breathing and our gym, Ironmonger's Gym, like we have a pretty powerful network of people up there in North County.
That's sick.
And that's kind of like the area I've been focusing on like right now, because that's like North County up to Orange County. I feel like I call it like my territory, because I mean I have like MDSM down here and I have athletes up there. I coach like 45 up to I think 45 to 50 people, and a lot of them are here in Southern California, and usually through that network of people is how I'm able to accomplish all this stuff.
When you do coaching, what are you coaching specifically?
A lot of people come to me specifically for powerlifting.
Okay.
Right, and for everyone who doesn't know what that is, it's not bodybuilding, go on stage flexing or nothing like that. It's performance-based sport. And so that's why we're kind of using it as a supplemental tool for the kids, because for me, when I got off hard drugs and stuff like that and found powerlifting, it's a very transparent sport too. I can either pick up the weight or I can't. And if I can't pick it up today, doesn't mean I can't ever pick it up. I'm just not strong enough today. And in order to do that, you have to humble yourself, right? Like say I'm going to go to pull 405 off the ground, can't move it. Okay, that means I have to pull the weight down, focus on some things, and build it back up, right? And it was through that process that there's nothing more simple than, like when I got clean, to say like one day at a time, one day at a time, one step at a time, one lift at a time, one rep at a time, one set at a time, one breath at a time. And it's just stacking bricks to build a solid foundation. And that's when I started realizing, like, because at first when I got clean and stuff like that, fell into the sport just because it was simple, either can or can't. And then, got offered the opportunity to learn how to coach. And I started coaching. I wasn't like there to coach powerlifters. I was just coaching like the soccer mom, the dad who wanted to lose weight and stuff like that. And then through my clients, the internet, stuff like that too, people saw what I'm doing and liked it and started attracting it, right? Then, as the years go by, I've been doing this for 7-8 years, right? The years go by, I start, and that's the amount of clean time I have too, is, as I get more comfortable with like who I am and rediscovering myself, and giving a lot of credit to the barbell, I started realizing, oh shoot, trauma attracts trauma. And what I mean by that is like all the stuff that I was experiencing that led me on the bad path I was on when I was younger. I started noticing like the people I was working with had similar circumstances, maybe not the same story. They didn't necessarily do as much, get locked up as much as I did when I was in my 20s and stuff like that. But it's like the girls coming out of like abusive marriage, or guys just starting to like figure out they need to get clean or something like that, or get off, like stop drinking or stop doing drugs, or the guys just coming out of prison or jail, and the guys who think they're too old to go back to school and stuff like that, and showing them like building strength is what also carries out into the street. Mm-hmm. That's kind of why I started doing what I was doing.
Yeah, I would definitely say, dude, I mean, this resonates with me so much because of martial arts. I mean, whether it's jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, boxing, all martial arts that I've done, there's, especially for like jiu-jitsu and or Muay Thai, because I feel like that's when I really started like kind of understanding, just like you said, like, the 405, you can't lift it right now, but you take it down, you focus on some things. So it's like, hey, that dude might have tapped you right now, but in 6 months, if you keep coming 6 days a week or 5 days, however much you can come, and you keep training, you're drilling and you're doing the practice and you're getting your reps, 6 months from now, that same dude will come. Maybe he doesn't tap you. Maybe you tap him, but regardless, maybe you don't get tapped. And then it's the same thing with sparring. I mean, for Muay Thai, for boxing, sometimes you might be the nail and sometimes you're going to be the hammer, but you're not going to always be the nail. You're going to be the hammer sometime. Maybe you'll catch somebody slipping, you'll catch them in the solar plexus, and boom, you dropped them. And it's like, damn, okay, like it's paying off my time and my dedication, and it's an outlet.
Exactly.
Another thing that resonated was the trauma attracts trauma. I definitely, for me, you're never, healing's never done, mm-hmm. in my opinion, and you're always evolving. But I noticed that the people I attract around me, when they see things that I've overcome or that I've accomplished, and they're in a good spot or they're dealing with some things, either they come to me and I'm an ear to listen,
right,
and or they want to elevate or just like want to be like, how can I do better? And it's like, dude, like, fuck. And I started realizing the people that I was around, like, again, same thing, just like you said, not the same story, but they're going through things.
Yeah.
And damn, dude, that was crazy. You just said that. That like seriously resonated with me so gnarly. I was like, wow. Okay.
The trauma attracts trauma, and then like you have to take a sit back, and like you're saying, that people are kind of like, asking you for advice, and it's like you start realizing, you kind of slowly start building this tribe around you. Yep. This little community, and they look up to you, and it's kind of a trip because like I've never had that. It's like I have a really strong community behind me, and a lot of these guys are like, "Oh, Mike, how'd you do this? How'd you do that?" I'm like, I just opened my mouth and asked for help, But it took me a long time to do that, It could be asking for help for something simple. I'm not talking about just like getting clean. It's like I didn't even know how to start an LLC. I just asked for help, and then it's like really easy, Or even like the nonprofit, like man, it's like I know how hard it is to start a 501c3. I'm like, Wasn't that hard. I just went and did some paperwork, had to wait a little bit, and then I got it. You know, it was I knew what I had was good, but I just needed people to tell me what to do it. You know, that's, you know, I'm a good leader. And I have, like I said, I need the team behind me to make sure to manage me too. You know, like
it takes a village, bro.
Yeah. Like I was talking to you about earlier before we started, like I chase goals like I used to chase dope, and then sometimes I stack them up too much, and I need to be told to slow down a little bit. You know.
Dude, yeah, and that's what, before the podcast, I agreed with that so gnarly, because I'm addicted to the hustle, like I said. And I was like, you said something again that resonated very much with me, was to slow down. Yeah. And dude, I struggle with that so hard. Yeah. I had a meeting earlier today with a person, and this person was kind of, she's like, so you do this, you do this, you do this. And I was like, yeah. She's like, so you're a hustler. And I was like, yeah, I hustle. And she was like, all right. She's like, well, you know, like we can work together, but you know, let's start with the calendars. Let's put like the top priorities of things you're going to block off for yourself. Right. You know, times with dinner dates with your girlfriend and this, that, this. I sat there and I was like, look, I don't have like a girlfriend. I don't have a wife. I don't have kids. I don't have none of that. I was like, I need to work out and I need to spar and I need to go to boxing, because boxing is what I'm doing right now. I'm not doing Muay Thai or jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. But I was like, you say like you're gone on Thursday, Fridays, give me a day. You just tell me what time, I'll be there. I don't care. I make my life around this. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, I know how you are. She's like, I used to be like that. And I was like, okay. But it definitely, I don't know, man. One thing I wanted to ask you, because of how you've been describing things, I'm addicted to working. I'm a workaholic. I don't even keep track of how many hours I work. Somebody asked me recently, how many hours do you think you work? Like 80? I was like, pfft. Dude, I honestly could think about how much I work in a day, and I'm like, dude, I at least work 100 hours, if not more, a week, because I'll work through the weekend. The only day I technically have off is the day that we're closed here, which is Mondays, but I'm roasting for all of the accounts, steel mill, for anybody. Mm-hmm. So I don't really have a day off. That's like my kind of half day, where I'll start at 6:30 and I maybe end around 4 or 5, and then I'll go spar and do other things. So the one thing I wanted to ask you is, we haven't touched on it yet, like how what you were addicted to, but one thing I wanted to touch on before we get into that story was, do you feel that you've replaced the addiction that you had before with this addiction? No, because I did at first when I fell into the sport, not with my coaching and the work. And that was when I was early in my recovery. And that's when separating passion versus obsession. Okay. There's one, you know, you can be obsessed with something and it can be detrimental when it starts pulling away from everything else around you, whether it's like family, friends, or just doing something else. Right. And there's passion. It's just because you love doing something. Right. Just to do it. So when I got into powerlifting, it's all I was focused on. And it was just making me not think about my triggers, I guess. But it just gave me something else to focus on when I didn't have anything. So when I got clean and sober, when I got clean off hard drugs and all that, my dad had just died. And I had barely given him, when my dad died, I gave him 4.5 months clean time. I was plugged into a wall on house arrest, and I was about to be a dad, right? And then when my dad passed, I inherited cash, and I had some of my own, and that's what I used to get a home for my son and myself. But I didn't have any job skills, because all I had been doing from like 18 to that time was selling drugs and just crime in general. And then so like I said, didn't have any job skills. I didn't really consider myself smart, even though I am. But I didn't really consider myself smart, because I was like, I'm 27 years old, don't have, like, tell myself I don't have a college degree. I don't even know if I know how to write cursive, just dumb stuff. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know I was in a spot where I didn't know what to do. But I found powerlifting, like I said, it was simple, but it's like all I put my energy into. Like all I put my energy into is like studying the sport, podcasts, reading about it, all the different methodologies, picking people's brains. But like it's all I did 24/7. I started noticing it's taken away from
the stuff around me, right? Like I was more focused on that than maybe going out and looking for a job, you know, putting all my eggs in one basket here and like hoping that this is going to work for me, like as if I was going to get paid to lift. I'm not thinking ahead. I don't know nothing, you know what I mean? And when I realized that, I was able to pull away from it, you know, but it took time to realize that. I mean, I was probably really deep in it for like 2 years. I would say I was like, it's a different type of addiction to being like addicted to heroin and crystal meth, you know what I mean? I guess it's a little bit more of a positive addiction, but I was able to recognize it. And then that's growth when you can recognize it. Even though it took 2 years for me to recognize it, I recognized it. And it's like I told you, stacking stuff on the plate, you know? And so I think for those like 2 years, I was still avoiding kind of like growing up. It sounds weird, you know, like at that time I was damn near 30 years old, like 27, 30, you know, 27, 22, 29, 30. But I realized, you know, the passion versus obsession thing is like what it was is like I spent my whole life, I've been fired from every job I ever had, you know? Yeah, and I've had a lot. I can't even tell how many jobs I've had, you know? So like I said, I've been locked up more times than I can count. And it's, you know, and having like these court bills that had to go out every month, and I'm still paying them. And I've been paying them since I was 18. I'm 30. I'll be 37 next month. But
damn, we're the same age.
Nice. 86.
86, baby.
Yeah, yeah. What year? I mean, what month?
March 4th.
Oh, February 21st. Pisces.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Are you a Pisces?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's popping?
But it's just realizing that like I was, instead of like growing up and like doing the things I had to do to provide and just be a contributing member of this world, you know, I had to slow it down a bit and look at it different and make it turn into a passion. And that's when, and I think that started happening when I got offered to learn how to do personal training. And again, the craft grew, as in like I started recognizing I was helping people like this, and then, you know, just seeing what I was, it was a slow come up, dude. But like really during COVID is when I started noticing what was happening around me. Yeah.
The craft.
Yeah.
You were saying about the craft about the
Yeah,
wine, but your craft,
yeah.
you're a master of your own craft,
Right,
man.
right.
So you got crafters in a different thing.
Right. It's like, you know, it's a discipline just like martial arts is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I started recognizing like this isn't just coming in and banging weights, and like at first it was an outlet, and at first like, oh, this is therapy, but like iron isn't therapy. It doesn't talk back. It doesn't listen. It's cold.
Yeah.
You know,
it can be rusty.
Yeah, and it can really hurt you too. You know, but I've get off track. What I was saying. What were we talking about?
The craft.
The craft, yeah, it's a discipline though. So it's not just banging the iron, because that's not what's going to keep getting the weight up. Yeah, I can muscle the weight up to a certain amount, but then injury starts happening, you know, and then you have to like pull a step back and focus on what you did wrong. Just kind of like you were saying, sparring with the guy, you might get smoked one time, but you got to lose sometimes to learn too. It's like, oh, he got me like that, so I need to start working on that, right? Because when you lose, that means there's a weakness somewhere. It doesn't necessarily mean like it's just there's a leak in the ceiling, so you got to address the leak, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing. It's just I had to pull back and start looking at this as a discipline, and like, if say I'm an athlete, you know, like start acting like one, you know, live a certain way, you know, all the drugs and alcohol don't really mix, like that party lifestyle don't mix with that, because you don't recover, right? You gotta get a certain amount of hours of sleep, certain amount of meals a day, a certain amount of calories, certain amount of water, all that. And you start realizing if I want to be my best, I have to perform my best, I have to actually perform my best. Like you said, you craft your life around work, right? I had to kind of craft my life to being the best in the gym. And like I said, you talking about injuries and stuff like that. I've blown both biceps. I don't have any biceps.
I remember you were telling me this.
Yeah. So I tore one. It wasn't like, to me, it's not like phenomenal weight, because like to me, tears should be happening over 600 pounds. But I tore one bicep at like 535, and I tore the other bicep at like 565. And
bro, what? Dude, that shit you see like the football players doing on like from professional teams
right.
and shit.
Yeah, but you kind of get jaded because you see the homies bang stuff around. Like, you know what I mean, all the time. So I mean, you see the top of the top all the time. You know, like I know the guy who has the deadlift world record. Right, he only weighs like 275 and pulled over 1,000 pounds. You know, with his bare hands, no straps, no equipment, just raw. You know, but like,
was it a hexagon or was it like a straight up car?
No, it's weight on a bar. You know what I'm saying? And like, just put it in perspective, is like, yeah, strongmen do that. Like Hafthor Bjornsson, the mountain, but that dude's like 7 feet tall, 400 something pounds at the time, had a specialty bar for it, and got to wear straps. This guy weighs 275, ain't nowhere that guy. The guy's only just like a couple inches taller than me, you know, but just maximizes leverages and be able to manipulate the weight off the ground. You know, pound for pound, that's the strongest person in the room. right? But
I love how you talk about it because I'm like, damn, son. All right.
yeah. But like what I'm saying though is like I get jaded because I coach like a lot of really strong dudes. You know, I coach a lot of people that bench over 500 pounds, people that pull over 700 pounds and stuff like that. So it's like when I say that amount of weight to me is like because it's nothing to me just because I see it so much. But you know, I go walk down the street, probably no one else is doing it, right?
Dude, I can guarantee you in this block alone, I honestly can say I feel like nobody around here could do what you're doing.
Right.
Like as far as weight wise.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
dude.
and I've got girls that do that stuff. Right. I coached one girl back in the day, made her top 10 all time. It doesn't matter the federation. In her weight class for wraps and raw, it's just different divisions. But she put in perspective, she weighs 165, was 5'3", 5'4", and pulled 555 off the floor. Like I said, I tore my bicep at 535, and I tore my other one at 565. You know,
were you just trying to like do bicep curls, or what were you doing?
That's how it tears.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You can't curl that amount of weight. But what happened was like when I went to go pull it, it got stuck. You'll see the sticking point where like when the bar slows down, and I tried it's just bad technique. You know, so what do? Address it. I went and tried to get surgery. They operated on here, and they couldn't fix it. And same thing when I blew out this one. So what I did is I just switched hands. So when I blew out this one, I was like, well, I don't have any. Again, I guess I can't tear anymore here. And I knew I didn't need to go with the doctor there because they didn't do nothing anyways. You don't need biceps to do the sport. I still pull with the torn biceps. Sometimes it hurts a little bit, but it's whatever.
Dude, you're gnarly. So how did it heal?
It didn't.
It didn't.
So my bicep, when it snapped, you can see it on video, like when it snapped, it rolls up. So
yeah.
This one's like in my pit. Right, and I guess when they tried to fix that, I didn't have like I don't have good insurance. Or at the time, I had none, so it was like a process getting in there. What I did, I let my insurance lapse. So it took me like 90 days to get in there, right? And when they operated on me, when he tried to attach it, there was enough filament for it to attach to. So then he tried to use a cadaver graft or whatever, and even that didn't work, right? Wow. And it was a trip though. Was like I guess like from being under the anesthesia. It made me real grumpy, I guess. And so when they tried to wake me up, because my sister was there to like take me home, because I got dropped off by an athlete and like just drop me off. I'm gonna have surgery and have my sister pick me up, I guess. You know,
simple.
Yeah, I was wearing my Lizzo shirt that said like "I'm that bitch" or whatever. Like, whatever the song is she has. I wanted them to know. Like, you know? And I wore my mom's rainbow socks because those are what I tore the bicep in. I was like, to me, I was like, good luck, like have my mom hold me still, you know? Mm-hmm. But when they went to wake me up, I got mad, I guess, and I grabbed the nurse by the collar. Well, luckily it was a guy. And I grabbed him by the collar. He's like, don't interrupt my sleep kind of thing. And so when they were able to finally wake me up, they put me in my sister's car, but didn't tell me that the surgery wasn't a success. So I remember, when I finally come to, like the next day, I call the doctor. I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, did you have to use a cadaver graft? I'm just curious, And he's like, no, they answered for him. Like, no, he didn't have to use a cadaver graft. I'm like, okay, cool. And so the next day, I flew out to Northern California, to Dublin, California for a competition. That's what I did. I had surgery, took a day of rest, and flew out to go coach one of my athletes, the girl I was talking about with the gnarly pull, right? And there I am with her. And then, long story short, a week later, I come back. Come back for the comp, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool, what's up? He's unwrapping my arm and tells me that the surgery didn't work. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, he didn't even tell you. What about the phone? It's like, well, I told you I didn't use a cadaver graft. I didn't tell you it worked, And I think they're just they were intimidated by me or just because of the whole like wake up situation. And he's like, I knew this would be awkward. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, this would be awkward, dude. I just been walking. It's like give me a Christmas present and then being real stoked on it. And he just took it back and said, I can't have it, And that's also part when I start recognizing growth, where I was like, oh shoot, like I'm never going to be it's like, how if I'm ever going to lift again? Am I going to do this? What do I do now? People were even asking me, like, what are you going to do now? And I was like, well, I got another arm. I'll just switch, after surgery, or, I'll just switch arms and still pull. But then I was like, dang, dude, all I identify is a lifter. Yeah. It's like back when I used drugs, like I'm just an addict. You know what I mean? It's all I identified as. I'm just a dirtbag. As I was talking about the self-talk, what you call yourself, you will be. And I was living that like scoundrel lifestyle. That's how I was living. But then I realized, like, dude, I'm just a meathead. I just live. It's okay to be like that, but also they got to separate yourself. Like I'm a partner. I'm a dad. I'm a friend. I'm a coach. It's more than just being the guy lifting the barbell. And that's when I started creating like separation and stuff like that. It's like this is work, And then just like your passion was that when you lift, that's just for yourself. You know what I mean? And it started looking like this ain't going to be the road you think it's going to be, you know, because I got on this pretty banged up already from all the life I lived before and coming into it when I was older. You know, it's not like, you know, the guys who do really well in this, I mean, I'm not going to put an age on it, but I got on this when I was like in my, you know, damn near 30. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not like I started doing lifting when I was in high school, like for this purpose, you know? And like I said, I had to create the separation. And that's when I realized I put so much energy into this. It was after my second tear when I realized I was still putting so much energy trying to get back on the platform to do what's called full power. That's when you do squat, bench, deadlift. And there's single lifts, which I had to do for all like bench only because like the tears or whatever, it was just nervous to pull. And I had other, you know, stuff going on. Like I tore my lat once and couldn't squat or deadlift for like a year. But on my last tear, I was like, dang, I'm still putting it like I created separation, but on my last tear, I was like, dude, you know, I put so much energy just trying to go lift this dang bar. And no one cares about it but me. Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter because there's going to be someone stronger in the room. The records get dropped all the time. That's not what I'm chasing. I'm chasing these numbers. Like I used to chase dope. And I was like, imagine I put all this energy into everything else I do. Right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm like, you know, if I put this into like my relationships with like friends, family, my son. What if I'm like this with my business? You know, like really step it up and stop being a hustler and start being more of like a businessman about it. Whereas like, you know, just collecting Venmo or like cash under tables, like let's actually like make this so I can make the business start paying for my life too, like go make an LLC. So I started that all during COVID. And during COVID is when I started to accelerate. During COVID, when like no one was able to get into a gym, is when I started picking up more and more clients online. You know, and then like our gym stayed open. We're up there in Vista. Vista's ran by Sheriff. Sheriff didn't care about gyms being open. They didn't want to waste their time. So, and like where our gym is, it's like driving into a prison yard. You drive up this hill in the middle of nowhere. I mean, up in the business park, drive past the freaking gate where the tow truck company is, pull right into another like prison-looking yard, and it's just out there in the sticks and nothing's there, but just iron. Right? So no one can mess with us anyway. Whereas during that period of time, MDSM, most dedicated strength methods, that's when I started to pick up. And then my calendar started to line up. And then it's during that time, like going back, talking about trauma attracts trauma, I started realizing the clients I have, like, damn, these people are getting strong. You know, I got girls pulling 405, like the 555, you know what I mean? Like she came strong already. But what I'm saying is I had girls that came in the room and they weren't strong. And they weren't strong physically and they weren't strong mentally. And all of a sudden they're the biggest, baddest girl in the room, you know? Mm-hmm. That's crazy. And even if they weren't the biggest baddest in the room, they still walked around knowing that they could be. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
they no
100%.
They no longer felt like a little fish. I have this thing called big fish, small pond syndrome. Mm-hmm. It's when you go into like, it's easy to find. You probably got it like the mixed martial arts studios. There's going to be one guy who's the strongest in the room, right? And in his head's like, yeah, you know, I hate using the word alpha, but it's like, you know, he's the alpha in the room. You know, that probably has to say he is too. But then you throw him in somewhere else, and we're at a bigger pond, and all of a sudden he don't talk as much. Yeah. Right? But okay, what were we talking about? I'm getting off track with that.
No. You were talking about being the big fish and the big fish and the little pond syndrome. Mm-hmm. But then you were talking about how these are. You were asking me if it made sense about how these girls were
these
coming
girls,
in.
They weren't necessarily the big fish in the pond, but they weren't scared to be in the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I can relate. So this girl right here on the wall, this is Leof. This is one of my best friends.
Okay.
When I met her, she was... dude, it was super funny. I fucking referred to her as the weird girl in the corner with the dogs. Mm-hmm. Because she came into the coffee shop that I was working at the time. And she would just sit at the far end table, closest to the door. She'd always have her back to the wall, and she could always see the door, and she could see it like at a vantage point. She's a cop.
Right.
But she like would sit there and like she's kind of looking, and she always had her dogs. And like one day I come in, they're like, hey, you know that girl sits in the corner with her dogs? I was like, yeah. Like, oh, we hired her. She asked for a job. She knew all this stuff. All right, cool, dope. We end up working for a while, start becoming really close friends. And she says, hey, I know you run, because I was training for a marathon at the time. Mm-hmm. She's like, can I start running with you? I want to get healthy. I was like, all right. So she went from like barely being able to, I think the first time we ran, she ran like a half mile, maybe a mile, maybe.
Right.
And then she got up to like slowly to like a mile and a half, 3 miles. And then she was going on like 8-mile runs and like killing it. And then one day she comes into the shop and she's like, hey, I really want to go to UFC in Mission Valley when it was still there. And she's like, I want to, start doing some training classes. Would you go with me? And I was like, yeah, I'll go. So I go with her to a boxing. It was either boxing or kickboxing. I think it was boxing. And just like normal stuff, holding pads, doing whatever. Started doing like DUTs, weights, and then we go to jiu-jitsu. And that's when we got hooked. And like me and her, dude, we would work like 8 hours a day. And then we would go and train for like another like 4, maybe 5 hours. Do like kickboxing, Muay Thai, but it was always jiu-jitsu. And then it would be like, then we found ourselves doing like 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. would be gi jiu-jitsu, and then from 7:30 to maybe 9:30 would be no gi.
That's when you wear a suit versus none.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Right.
So it'd be like your kimono,
Right.
And then it would be like rash guards and like shorts,
Okay.
you know, and different holds, stuff like that. And then COVID happened, and she was like, "Hey, I'm still training. Do you want to come?" And then we would still go, and it was like, dude, it would just be like maybe roasting a little bit, and then just training 6 days a week. And she went from this girl who was like she was never really out of shape, but she was kind of chubby and kind of a geek. Didn't really, I mean, she's still a geek, but like she was just super geek, in my opinion. And then she became this fucking badass that it was like she could tap dudes, she would stand and bang with the best, and then before you know it, she's fighting for the 135-pound belt against a girl from Tahiti as her first MMA match, because the 135 girl from Tahiti, this girl Tahanahana, her opponent dropped out, and they were like, Liav was supposed to fight at 125. They're like, hey, you want to fight for the belt for your first fight? She's like, fuck it.
Right.
Stood and banged for 3 rounds, lost, but like fucked the girl up. And you know, to like all love to Tahana, because I actually like shout out to her whole family. She was very hospitable to me when I was in Tahiti, and so mad love to you guys. But that was that, and then she started doing Muay Thai fights and winning in Muay Thai fights and doing like more MMA, and it was just like, dude, to your point, after that long-winded explanation, to your point, dude, like she's one of the most badass people I know to this day. She comes in here, like she came in this morning. She's like, I worked 16 hours. She worked. I was like, what time did you get off today? She's like, I got off at 6 a.m. I worked, or maybe 7 a.m. And she's like, I worked since 5 p.m. yesterday. I was like, dude, you're fucking not, like, who are you? You know, like she wasn't afraid to be in the room, dude. She literally went from this person that was kind of scared, kind of unsure of herself, to now where she's like so confident. And martial arts, I think, was a huge influence on that. So I can only imagine with heavy lifting, that's such a confidence boost, and you're building up these people you're giving them something to be proud of.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's like, maybe it's not martial arts, but hey, they know how much weight they can do. And then maybe they have those thighs that are just, they won't quit. You know, they're like, yeah, I know what's popping. Like, I know what work I put in there, you know?
Right.
So yeah, man, like, no, I totally get it. Like, again, a lot of similarities, a lot of parallels to that. So one thing I wanted to get into though, like, cause we keep talking about it, you keep grazing on it, but like, where you said in high school things started to get real for you. At like what point did you start to turn to drugs and alcohol, or just drugs?
I didn't discriminate between either of them. Right. But so, I mean, it started becoming a problem in high school. And it was when I started, like, I got introduced to like cocaine in high school, and I liked the escape of things. Right. And I always had, here's a better way to say it. I've always been uncomfortable in my own skin. And when I stand in a room, it's better now. I used to be really introverted. Now, you know, because of what I do, I'm more extroverted, but still I have the same feelings on the inside. It's just different now. But I've always felt uncomfortable in my own skin. And I'm standing in a room, I feel like everyone's looking at me or talking about me in a negative way, right? And it made me socially awkward growing up. I also grew up kind of fucked up. Went through a lot of crazy ass trauma. I mean, my dad pulled some crazy shit. I had what was called a correctional babysitter when I was in.
What is that?
Basically, I was. It's funny because I see my kid. I'm like, man, if this, because he's just like me. I'm so glad you don't have to go through the shit I went through. But I had like ADHD, right? But it was like undiagnosed and shit like that, or my parents didn't care, and so every preschool I ever went to, I've been kicked out of.
Really?
Yeah, I've been through a lot of them too. I grew up in Long Beach, or like Norwalk, like Los Angeles County.
Yeah.
And got kicked out of every preschool. And then, you know, my mom dropped me off on Monday, then Friday, picked me up, you know, dropped me off on Friday, picked me up Friday, from Friday morning, pick me up Friday evening with a note pinned to me saying, don't bring them back. Now, to spend that, things were different back then. It's kind of harder to find another place. You can't just go Google it. You know what I mean?
Dude.
And so, like, when I got into New River, or the elementary school New River in Norwalk, they referred my mom to this lady. I don't have to say her name, doesn't really matter, but referred me to this, told her to take me to this lady who's a correctional babysitter and can make kids right. But it was the most abusive thing I've ever been through in my life, you know? And so this lady abused me from kindergarten until we moved to San Diego when I was in like 5th grade, right? And I mean, like, she abused me. You know what I mean by that? Like, she beat me. She would throw me in rose bushes. She would have her grown-ass children beat me. But they did it in a way where, like, it didn't leave a lot of markings. Or, like, the markings would be like, oh, it's just roughhousing with the other kids. And this lady, I can never say nothing about it because it wasn't like I would try to say stuff. I wouldn't give them all the details because the lady, you know, basically threatened my life. If I ever said something, she'd kill me, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Wow. I mean, she used to hold kitchen knives up to me and like put my head in the oven and say she'd cook me because I was a fat little kid and stuff like that. I didn't, you know, she knew I was scared of the dark, so she put me on timeout or make me stay outside and put me in the tool shed outside for hours as like punishment, you know. And then I never got to play with the other kids, like, you know, sit outside all day and stuff like that. It goes pretty deep, but so I went through all that, you know. And during that period of time too, my dad was gnarly. My dad was he was a full-blown alcoholic, and like I say, he was gnarly. And like, you know, I witnessed that dude catch an attempted murder charge of my own mother when I was like my son's age. He's 2nd grade, so 7 years old. You know, then my dad went away for a while, but then came back. And he came back and he was good until he caught cancer, then started drinking again. But, you know, at that point, it's kind of like,
it's like whatever.
Not going to say much to you about it, but yeah. He gave me really good years until he passed away, you know. And but I grew up through a lot of shit, you know. I have 4 brothers, 2 sisters, all older, much older, and they all had their own problems. They had a different dad, but I just grew up around the stuff. And to me, this was all normal, though, you know. And so going back to like how did I get into it, when I was in like middle school, I started getting into trouble. And I started getting into trouble. What I mean by that is like me and my friends, we got in trouble because for like a year straight, we'd break into the schools around town and steal all the stuff in there and sell it like on eBay when eBay first came out. And then when we got rolled up for it, it was like, oh, Mike D did that. Like, Mike D's cool now, you know? Oh, I found my in finally.
So you had like some positive reinforcement for the negative things that you were
stuff
doing.
I was doing. It's like, okay, so now girls are talking to me. Now guys who like used to like pick on me hard, you know, now they want to be my friend. Okay, so I'm gonna adopt this. So anytime I found an opportunity to do something bad, I did it. You know, whether it's like I used to walk a mile to steal cigarettes, straight up. It's the only place I could do is Kmart. You know what I mean? Because I left it on the counter. So I'd walk a mile to steal cigarettes and sell it at school, you know, or like I said, breaking into the schools. When I got offered, you know, any drug you gave me, I said yes to. It wasn't whether I wanted to do it or not. It was I wanted to be able to say I did it. I wanted to be able to tell you, like, it was a goal of mine to tell you I've done every fucking drug there is.
It was a clout.
You know what I mean? And it's like, well, he ain't that bad because he hasn't done this. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You know, my first arrest was by my DARE officer. Remember DARE?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
I got arrested when I was in like 8th or 9th grade. And it was funny because they put me in the van and had like the little Scruff McGruff dog back there.
Stop it.
The suit, you know? And then in high school was like, that's when I started like, I was always into music too. Like I'm pretty musically inclined without trying. It's always the trip is like if I actually tried, I'd probably be a different life, right?
Yeah.
But I started playing music, like, you know, grew up in the punk scene, metal scene, like hardcore, all that. And I started playing music with these guys. These guys were much older than me. They already had graduated. They were already 21. They could buy alcohol. And it kind of took me under their wing and kind of introduced me into this party lifestyle, which I love. And I like went full blown into that from like literally started playing shows at 15 And I stopped around like 25, 26 because I couldn't be in the band no more because I kept getting arrested and stuff, you know. But that's what kind of led to that. And, you know, once I got out of high school, the drugs picked up, as in like it was. I used to joke with my friends, hey, remember when weed was good enough? You know, that's all I needed to be okay with today, as I being okay with how I feel, you know. But that escape wasn't enough. It got harder and harder and harder. And then eventually I got introduced to heroin. And I remember when I took my first hit of heroin, I was like, that's it. Because I could literally just turn off all emotion, turn cold, and not have to worry about anything. Like I said, I've always been escaping my trauma. I never went to therapy for it when I was younger and stuff like that. I did when I was older. And I never even told my parents about what had happened to me until like years later, because I was still afraid of her. You know what I mean?
Damn.
And like, I mean, I remember telling my mom over like Mexican food when I was like in high school, I think. And she's like, what? You know? And that's
I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no idea I would have done something. I was like, well, I thought I said something. But, you know, it's different back then too. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel like they don't listen to kids as much back then as they do now. There's so much going around. You know, life was a little different back then. We didn't have like immediate like exposure to like the crazy shit going on in the world and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, people just weren't aware.
Weren't as aware of all the crazy shit that is out there happening. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? My parents were blue collar as fuck. They were both welders for Long Beach Naval Shipyard. You know, dropped me out. You know, they'd be out the door at 4 a.m. They'd be home at 4 p.m., you know, 4 or 5. So I was responsible for getting myself to and from school. That's what I'm saying. That's where the trouble started. It's like I can get to school just fine. It was coming home was the issue. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when I got introduced to heroin, it was like, poof, it just went. And I got introduced to heroin when I was like 20. And I ran that thing till I was 27, something like that. 20 to 27, like a good like 7 years. And then crystal meth came along during that. And the crystal meth was only good because it kept me up longer to do more heroin.
I was going to say, that's like upper and a downer.
Yeah, so it just kept me up. Like the heroin I couldn't enjoy because I kept falling asleep. And then the crystal, you know. But it was those two drugs where like I really like lost it. You know, I became, there's this term, I was talking to my wife about it. Hi, Amber, I love you. But I was talking to my wife about it, and the owner of the gym, Rick, I love him so much, like a brother. But he has a shirt that says "Comfortable with the uncomfortable." You gotta become comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Dude, I say that shit all the time.
I love it, but I also don't. And because like I knew one of my bottoms. I love talking about bottoms because bottoms are as deep as you want to dig. But one of my bottoms, it still wasn't my lowest yet. Was walking across the border in Mexico to get dope. In my 20s, I spent more time, you know, if I wasn't in jail, I was in Mexico. I spent more time there than here, you know. I was walking across the border because I used to do some dirt down there for a gang that's down there. But I stepped over a dead body to get my dope, and I didn't care. And then, like, reflecting on that, I just remember, like, coming back across the border and driving home. I was like, I saw a dead body. I pretty much saw him die, like, you know, like, overdose. And I stepped over him to get my dope to continue on, and it didn't faze me. Like I became cold. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, that's why I don't like that term comfortable with uncomfortable. That's a personal thing. You know what I mean? I was like, it's more than fine for everyone else. But I'm saying for me, it's like, but that's why I prefer saying I like to celebrate adversity. It's like a challenge, you know, because that's just, and like I said, that's just for me. The comfortable to uncomfortable brings me back to like when I used to do really uncomfortable things that no one should be comfortable doing.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's kind of how that happened, you know. Well, I mean, that's just how I got into the drugs, you know. And like, when I get locked up, I don't have like a crazy record. Like my record's not violent. My record's a lot of drugs. A couple felony cells. One's for something that's completely legal now. You know, when I was 18, it's like that's whatever. That's off the recs now. But I got a heroin cells charge when I was like 25, 24, 25. And other than that, like I got 3 DUIs, and it's funny because I say like drinking wasn't the problem. It was just I did what I had to do to escape. You know, my 3rd DUI, I crashed into a cop's house.
Ironic.
Yeah, by accident. It just happened by accident.
Fuck, yeah.
But like you know, I got 3 DUIs, and it's just parties. You know, the only there's nothing violent on there, but there's stuff that you know. It's the stuff I've been caught up with. It's like, imagine if I got caught up with some of the stuff I didn't get caught up with. I'd be in there for a while probably, you know. just being transparent about it.
Yeah, dude. No, I mean that's part of the story. You know,
Yeah.
like again, I mean, dude, this also hits home for me because my brother, you know, I grew up with my brother. He was my idol. You know, my brother's my man. You know, that was my dude. But I watched drugs slowly deteriorate. Like, and talking to you, we're like the same age, and like, you know, I know you said you went hard on the 20 to 27, but man, I remember watching my brother from like 3rd grade. Dude, my brother used to be like suavecito, like just fucking. Everybody wanted him. He was like the coolest dude. Was a drummer in like psych bands, all this shit. Best to this day, the only drummer that I say is either better than my drummer or my brother is like on the level was the drummer from Slipknot. Because I saw them play and I was like, damn, he might be better than my brother. But he was so amazing. That's how good he is. But I watched crystal meth deteriorate him, and he was a huge crystal meth addict. Yeah. And he's 13 years older than me, so he's like, I think he's turning 50 or he is 50, and bro, his brain is fucked. He's fried now. He's like not even anything. Like we can't even like be cool because he just like he switches and like he's just gone. You know, it's not the dude that I know anymore. So I'm glad that you're not like that, but like that it just resonates. The crystal meth part because he's that was his drug of choice, man.
Yeah, it's like heroin sucks because like it's the physical thing, you know. It's like you want to stop but you physically can't because you get like getting the flu times 10. The best way I can describe the way heroin feels like when you're physically addicted is being able to feel every individual hair on your body hurt, right? Straight up. And then
dude, that's gnarly.
Yeah, but the crystal's just evil though, because like crystal will make you do things that you think you never could do. You know, you like taking money from your own mom, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Friends don't mean shit to you no more because it's the only thing you want is what they have. You know, so you can get more shit. You know, but
so was it having your son that pulled you out of that?
My low was my dad. My dad. It's crazy because when I found out I was going to be a dad, I was like, yeah, I got to stop. You know, because at that time, when I found out I was going to be a father, like, yeah, I give a lot of credit to my son, like, the most credit to my son. But I also, my dad, I put him through hell for so long. He's always been a supporter, too. I mean, he was going through his shit when he was, like I said, he had cancer. And so when he got cancer, he started drinking again. We got locked up together on Father's Day, you know, for our own shit. We both had warrants. My dad's a gangster too. I mean, I don't mean to say it like that. I mean, my dad did shit, you know. But my dad was a knucklehead like me. I just say it like that. But yeah, I just wanted I wanted him to know I was going to be okay, you know, because like when I found out I was going to have my kid, and then like I was plugged into the wall, and I could hear my dad like he didn't want to do chemo, and he finally did as like a last resort, you know. And the way he described it to me is like swallowing a knife. You know you're going to die no matter what, but like taking this medication is like swallowing a knife. And I would hear him throw up in the morning, and it was like someone just slaughtered a cow or something, you know, like slit his throat, just like this guttural fucking painful. I'm like, fuck. And I wanted him to at least, he's in that pain. I didn't need to add to it, you know. When he got to the hospital, they let me stay plugged into the hospital with him for 2 weeks till he died.
What do you mean plugged in? You keep saying
house arrest.
Oh,
I was on house arrest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, I call it plugged in because my ankle monitor, the battery was fucked up, so I had to stay plugged in. They wouldn't give me a different one because they're assholes.
Yeah.
It was like good for like 2 hours, and like if I wasn't charged in a wall, they'd be at the house looking for me. It's like a whole thing. I didn't want to deal with it, you know. Oof. And I had like every like 4 hours, I had to take a selfie to show that I'm still there, like stuff like that. It was crazy. I had all these alarms on my phone. Yeah, but yeah. So they gave me permission to stay in the hospital with them, you know. And then I had to go to an appointment for court probation, just the stuff I had to do, can't get out of, right? And like, okay, so I have to go check in. So I went to go check in. He said, okay, now I'm gonna die. You know, he was waiting for me to leave.
Fuck, that's heavy, man. That's super heavy. Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I call it the heavy breathing foundation. They were like, why I have this on my head. I live what I call a heavy lifestyle. You know, it's like eat heavy, train heavy, you know, heavy breathing. What it means to me is like that moment of like solitude when I'm sitting there after doing like a heavy ass set, And maybe I doubted, like, oh, damn, dude, I got 495 on the bar. I'm gonna squat this for 5 reps. And then it's like, I don't know if you ever performed, but it's like being on stage and you're like in that moment of like fervor, that energy, everything going around you, everything else disappears.
Yeah.
And that's like the same escape I was trying to get, the same escape. It's all in that moment for just this. And I sit there, and that's when I feel my most comfortable. It's in that heavy breathing, just catching my breath, and just appreciating that I have the opportunity to do this kind of stuff today,
Ooh, fuck, man. That's like, whew. I'm sorry. I don't think I've ever like actually like gotten emotional on a fucking podcast. But whew, that was heavy. That was
See?
Yeah, bro. Damn.
I leak tears all the time.
Whew, bro.
That's what I'm trying to say. That, you know what I mean? It's just
fuck, man.
Heavy breathing is going to be different for a person, but for me, heavy breathing to me is just that moment. It's just me and my success, my confidence leading up to something, or at least delivering that to somebody,
Yeah.
And even though it's like the weight on the bar is subjective to every person, the heaviness I'm trying to help people deal with is the weight of the world, I've had it tough, yeah, but I'm not over here bitching about it because I take accountability for everything I've ever done, Yeah, I have on house arrest, dad passed away, had a kid come in, had no skills. That's all my fault. That's for me. I can't point fingers at nobody, right? I can only point at myself, so it's up to me to fix it. And literally took from, my son's my pillar, like my timeline, because I got clean when I found out about him. So I kind of like measure my success as he grows, Every time he grows a little bit more, I get a little bit better for him.
That's tight.
And my wife too, of course.
Yeah, dude. Do you think, I mean, I hope this doesn't like offend you or anything, but like, do you think you could become susceptible to relapse?
So we're always on the edge of something, right? But it's like, for me to get, I feel like for me, I don't know, like if I really want to go get heroin, it's not that far from the border, just walk across. It's not hard to find, I look at all these hotels different, Hotel Circle. I've been in every hotel there. And like, wait, I don't look at hotels the same way people look at hotels. There's dirt going on in all of them. It took driving down around Hotel Circle used to be a trigger for me. Same with going on to 78. Once you get to, do you remember? I don't know. Are you from San Diego?
No, I'm not. But I've been here for going on 16 years.
All right, cool. Do you remember there used to be a Hooters hotel, like a Hooters, like in Vista?
Oh no, not in Vista, no.
Oh yeah, North County. I mean, it was off the 78, but either way, like driving off the 78, the only place I ever got crack from was in Oceanside, and all this once the hotels started popping up on the 78, it's like that used to trigger me too, But now it's like I had to just rebuild my life around because no matter what, I still had to go to A to B to do the things I do now. And then the memory kind of started to erase a little bit. But do I think I'm going to relapse again, or I think I'm at risk? I mean, I guess we're always at risk, but I can honestly say no. And the reason why I can say no is because, like I was talking to you before we started the podcast, is I can recognize triggers, and I can recognize it's not so much the trigger. Oh, I got to go use. It's like I can recognize I'm doing behavior, like escape behavior. When I add stuff to my plate, when I have enough going on already, like I said, chasing the goals and stuff like that. For example, I can go. Dang, someone I consider one of my best friends ever. He passed away. He died from like drugs and other things. It's definitely drugs is a part of it, but he passed away in September, right?
This year? I mean, last year?
Yeah, he passed away in September, and I believe it was September. It was early September, early October. No, it was after. So it was a week after September 11th. And I don't know that because of we had a competition, and a week later he passed. And then but when Tommy passed, the unfortunate thing was like we hadn't talked for like a year. And the reason why we didn't talk was because he was still in those habits. When we met, I was trying to get him. It's not up to me. Like, I can't save nobody. This is the guy actually the guy inspired me to make the foundation, because that was kind of like accountability and helping him get on the right path. But when he passed away, I started chasing all these goals at once. Like, I gotta get my credit right so I can get this home loan, so I can sell my house and buy a house at the same time. I'm getting married in 2 weeks, which was planned. We're going to getting married in Las Vegas for this competition. I'm gonna get married too, so might as well get married while we're out there. And this, and then also all these things that I'm trying to accomplish, and it's just like it's caused me all this stress. And it's when I get all that stress, or like, I attack it different now, but it's like when I get that stress, that's when I would probably choose to escape to go do something like that, But like I said, I recognized it, and I talked to my wife about it. And after we got married, I said, I'm sorry, because she rode with it the whole time. She's awesome. And, I'm just happy now I'm in a position where I can recognize that kind of behavior. I can be honest with you, I did try to, I was presented to me, not that a couple of years back, by my friend that just passed. And I talked to my wife about it. And what had happened was my friend, when I had met him the day after Thanksgiving, about 3 years back. When he walked in the room, it's like me. The guy's blasted head to toe. He got tattoos over his face. Man, well, this guy looks cool, right? But then, like, when we started talking, I started like, oh shit, this guy he was in recovery, living in a sober living, like for vets down here in La Jolla. And he was up there in Vista because, like, he goes to meetings up the coast and stuff like that. So his buddy brought him through. And we started talking, and I was like, dang, dude, I recognize your hurt. Like, the kind of hurt you have. I'm not saying you're hurt right now, but I recognize, like, that, like, trauma attracts trauma. Like, immediately we start, like, became my best friend in a sentence, it seemed like, He's like, come to the shop today, I'll tattoo you now. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, And then we're inseparable for, like 2 years. But when COVID happened, so people like me, and I mean by people like me, I don't like calling myself, I have isms. I'm either all the way in or all the way out.
Isms.
Right. Yeah. So I'm either, if I'm going to be bad, and I decide to be a bad kid or bad little kid and turn into being a little criminal, turn criminal, like a thug or whatever, I was all the way bad. I knew I was going to be bad. And it's like all I watched was I lived that lifestyle, and to prepare myself for where I knew where I was going to go, all I watched was NBC lockup. So when I get locked up, I knew how to handle it. You know what I mean? Kind of thing.
Damn, so you were already ready to go.
I was ready. So, like, when I went in there, I was like, all right, I'm Woodpile, we go here to do this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just deal, no matter what they say, you deal with politics as soon as you get in. But I knew what to do for the most part. I knew how to act, how to behave, or, like, how to be respectful and stuff like that, whatever. And then, but if I'm not about it, I'm not about it. And you'll know when I'm not about something. Like, it happens today. It still happens. Like, people be talking to me like, yeah. I get the case of the yeah-yeahs. They're just, that's me, like, I don't want to hear it no more. Let's move on to the next subject.
I'm over it.
And I'm like that with music too. Like I said, I did music and stuff like that, but, like, I'm a nerd about it. Like, if I get into a band, or even like West Side Gun or something, like we're talking about Nipsey Hussle, when I hear something, like, I have to know everything about it. And immediately, Wikipedia, where's this guy from? When did he start? How many times have he been locked up? Like, stupid stuff like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta know everything, at least know the region they're from. Like, I have to know those little details, like, talking about isms, recognizing that. What were we saying?
You were talking about your friend, and then
my friend.
Yeah, how you were inseparable for 2 years, and then you met him, and then you started getting your isms. You said you were locked up. You said you started, like, watching NBC Lockup to, like, see how to act, how to do these things. I don't know where you were going with that.
Yeah. It's talking about Tommy. But either way, like, I don't know where I was going with that.
You were talking about the first time you met him.
Yeah.
And then how you became inseparable. So.
Yeah, I've met him. We became inseparable for those 2 years. Like, blasting me all up and stuff like that.
Oh, you said because you were offered.
I went. So what happened was, I don't know where I went with that rant. Sorry, everybody. But either way, what happened was, so what it is, what I was trying to talk to you is about structure. I do really well with structure. It's like I have to run a certain program every day. If I don't have it, things get off. I have to wake up at a certain time. I have to have a bath every morning for 30 minutes. I have to do this. It's part of my morning routine. I have set times when I turn on my computer to do work. I have to have a structured life. So, like, when I was locked up, I did really well because it's structured. You have to wake up and go to bed at a certain time. That's when I started, like, training. Training was when I was locked up. Anyways, Tommy was a Marine, combat vet, right? And he did really well with structure too. But the problem was when COVID hit, it took the structure away from him because these meetings that he was relying on, I won't say dependent, relying on to keep him good, where he had that community of people from AA and NA, or even the military vets when they had their meetings and stuff like that, that was taken away, right? And so he started using it again. And I remember he called me one time, and he was from Boston. And I never met someone who FaceTimed as much as he did. He would only FaceTime me. Like, he FaceTimed me. He's like, I'm like, oh, you have a beer? Like, that's kind of a big deal for you, you know? He's like, oh, I'm going to be okay, you know? And then it just got worse and worse after that, where, like, I'm like, yeah, bro, like, you're falling asleep at the fucking wheel, you know? Pull over so I can get out, kind of thing. And what happened was his wife at the time, his wife called me and was like, Tommy's out here. If he stayed up for a few days, because he would do crystal and stuff like that too, if he stayed up for a few days, he would start making like demonic kind of like sounds. But he basically, long story short, he was on the patio acting like Tarzan and asked me to go over there and check on him, like trying to settle him down. And I went there, and I was talking to him, and like, I'm like, yo, like, just trying to entertain him, let's get out of here, like go clean my car since you're on one, like, you know what I mean, like. And he had brought out heroin, and he's like smoking it in front of me, and like, I'm just sitting, I'm like, whatever kind of thing, I'm okay, I'm around it. It's not like, oh, give me that. But then he put it down in front of me and gave me, dropped the lighter, and dropped the foil, dropped the dope, and he's like, here, have some. And I immediately grabbed it. When he did put it in front of me like that, I grabbed it, and I spent a couple minutes. I'm being transparent here for the world to hear. Like, I spent a couple minutes trying to figure out how to light it, because there wasn't a lighter. And I realized, holy shit, I'm about to throw everything I have away, you know? And I looked at him and I said, dude, I love you, and this friendship's not over, but I have to step away from you right now. And that's when I had to step away from him from that. And that wasn't the time when we didn't, like, that was when we stopped talking. But
that was a big trigger right there.
That was a big trigger right there, you know? But what I'm saying was, like, I knew, I saw it, I obviously recognized, but I was in, like, autopilot, you know? But then I realized what I was doing, thought about everything I had, and just said no, you know? It wasn't worth it, because there's a lot of hurt behind all this. It took a lot to get to where I am, you know? And I don't see a situation like that happening again, because what I've learned from that is that I'm not going to put myself at risk like that again either. Yeah. There's way to be selfish. There's way to be selfish and selfless at the same time. So it's like both sides of the coin kind of thing, you know? And so when it comes to, like, I'm not saying I'm helping people to be selfish and stuff like that, you know, or going on my way to try to help people. You know, the goals, I do this stuff as my living amends for all this trouble I can't make up for, or to people I can't say sorry to. That's how I choose to be selfless with it. But I choose to be selfish with it by distancing myself with part of it. What I mean by that is, I can't save you. If you have an issue, you go work with a professional, because that's where it almost got me. Does that make sense?
Dude, you explained it perfectly.
Yeah. Sorry I went off track with it, but yeah.
No, I mean, dude, it's like, this is a lot, you know. It's, you're recapping it, you're also describing it. I mean, it's okay if you lose track, but I mean, honestly, dude, it makes a lot of sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, that was a guy that, like,
wow, started
the whole, like, vision of me. I remember calling him, like, dude, I have an idea. Like, sorry, things like, I have an idea, and, like, it's gonna help us give back. You know, you can get paid for helping, like, you know what I mean? Because he was so plugged in with AA. He's like, we'll design these shirts for it. Like, this before I had the name Heavy Breathings, I was like, we can make these shirts, like, to make AA cool, like upper high class low life or something like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
like an oxymoron.
Yeah. High class low life. You know, like, look good but dirtbag at heart. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, something like that. You know, and he was all about it. And yeah, and it just one day. Is like he just ghosted me, and I like to, you know, when he passed, you know, I talked to his fiance and some friends, and, like, I really think what it was just he saw what he was doing and didn't want to get me involved with it, you know. Mm-hmm. And so, because I know, like, after that, like, I mean, hearing about the way he passed, you know what I mean, just the way it led up was like a movie. I was at you know, Mike Giannis, the artist, he was having a thing at the Escondido Performing Arts Center, like an art night, where he gets all these local artists from here, from the area, and they get together and just draw in public, play music, blah, blah, blah. And I bring my kid to that stuff because my kid's really good at art, and I like to show him what he can do with it, you know? Sick. And this guy walked up to me from his shop, and it was like from Tommy's shop, and he was like, hey, you need to go talk to him. And I was like, I've put the message out there, like, that ain't on me no more, you know? You get what I'm saying? Like, I can't just keep knocking on the door kind of thing. He's like, he come talk to me anytime. Then I heard from the other homie a couple of days later. He's like, dang, have you heard, like, he's missing? I was like, well, and that, you know, it's like, I don't know. Like, but, like, if he wants to be found, he will be. Like, if he wants to disappear, he'll disappear kind of thing, you know? Nothing crazy. And then the next day, I was coming back from Costa Mesa, seeing my physical therapist, and I got the, no. It was two days later. Yeah, 2 days later, I woke up to a phone call from this guy I haven't talked to in a long time. And I was like, this guy's got to be calling me for something important. And when I answered, he's like, told me straight up, like, boom, just hit me with it. And that shook me hard, you know. But, yeah, that was a tough one. Because, like, one of those things where like, I started telling people, like, fuck, man, sometimes you got to hang out the bullshit. Like, I don't really necessarily know what happened between me and the homie. But, like, if someone's struggling and, like, you don't necessarily have to be there to say to them, at least reach out and let them know you care still. Because I didn't get to tell them that. That really hurt me.
Dude, again, parallels, man. I've had a homie pass away. I've had a couple homies pass away. I've had two homies in particular pass away that were like that. I mean, one, I got a phone call. I've had a couple, like, more than two homies pass away, but two that stood out, like, heavy was when my friend Ryan Bowers died. I had been talking to him, like, dude, like, seriously, like a week before, maybe 2 weeks. And then, like, I remember the day, like, my friend Leov called me, and dude, she, like, if she's calling me, it's got to be something, you know, like, she called me super early in the morning, and I was like, yo, what's poppin'? Like, what's up? And she's like, have you checked social media yet? And I was like, no, I'm in bed. And she fucking, like, Ryan died. And I was like, what? And, like, I instantly, like, shot up. It was just like, fuck, you know, it was like that. And then, you know, how that goes. And then, like, I had another homie who was, like, a super big impactful person on my life. I was on a skate tour, and then, like, I went to the Phoenix Am after tour, and then I was supposed to be in Albuquerque to go visit my mom, and then I was in Albuquerque, and this is, like, MySpace days. And I get a message on MySpace. Kano, Ernie died. It's like, Ernie who? Big Ernie. Big Ernie who? Like, not, like, dude, that's not even registering. Like, who? Ernie full? Like, Ernie? And then, like, how he died, and it was just, like, on some dumb gangbanging shit in fucking the Bay Area or whatever. Yeah, it was like, you know, those calls are never easy. No. And they suck, and it throws you into this fog.
Yeah, that one fucked me up because I had it. The only death because that tested me. It's like, oh, how am I going to deal with this? And that was going to
be my next question.
That's the issue. Is like, you know, a lot of it's escaping, so I can't escape the problems no more by choosing the substance to hide it. You know, so I had to deal with it, and that's how I dealt with it. Was like all of a sudden, like, do all this instead. You know, do all these other things. And so I realized, like, I'm creating all this stress for me and my girl for no reason right now. And that's why I'm saying, like, this, especially during the holiday right now, I've been focusing on learning how to slow down and just appreciate what I have and set more, like, structured goals and, like, when I can hit something. It doesn't have to be immediate. That's the other thing, too. Like I said, like, you know, chasing the goals, like, dope. But the thing is, I also like that instant gratification, like, dope. You know what I'm saying? But it goes over with this stuff, too, because, I mean, I don't want to sacrifice long-term success for short-term experiences or something like that. I'm just trying to make something up in my head. But
no, you had it right.
Yeah. For me, back then, it's like, you know, it was, what was it? Short-term bliss versus long-term consequence, something like that. Like
short-term satisfaction versus long-term versus long-term consequences.
Right. And so just trying to learn how to appreciate the build-up more, I guess. And it's been a lot better. It's been a lot less, like, this last holiday. The holidays wasn't that stressful. Still chasing things, but still have a more structured, like, timeline to do it, you know, instead of having it all at once. It's like, it's okay to slow down, you know. I think that's the thing, too. So I'm so used to being, like, make things happen quick, fast, because it's kind of the way I grew up. I had to make it like that, you know, with the way I was living and stuff like that. But not everyone else is on that same wavelength, you know. You and I are.
Dude, I was just about to say, like, yo, bro, you're talking, like, yo, I'm on that wavelength. It
makes sense to us, but other people, they're like, it's like, well, this can be done in a couple days. Like, you know, it's like, no, I need it now, dude.
No, it's like, no, we can, how many hours we have in the day? 24? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to be on this for, like, 23.
You know, that's what I mean.
You know, and it's, dude, but you have, I will say, for somebody who grew up in San Diego, and this is no hate to anybody in San Diego, but I mean, if you've been here your whole life, like, bro, people don't function like that down here.
Right.
That's a Bay Area mentality, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, growing up next to one of the biggest metropolitan cities in the planet, it's like in hip hop music. That's why I'm so about it. Like, when you're from the Bay, you're a hustler. Like,
right.
you're making money, you're making moves, you're always going, you're grinding, you're doing this, you're doing this. That was like ingrained in me.
Right.
You know, I didn't have any role models per se. You know, like my pops and my moms were my role models. My brother for sure. But once he started like veering off, like you mentioned earlier, like the introverted. I'm an extroverted introvert.
Right.
Like, dude, I'll be the loudest in the room. I'll be like popping with people. I'll be smiling. I'll be dancing and do whatever. But then at the same time, I just want to like be in my room, like close the door. Nobody's in there. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm stretching. I'm doing like, I'm doing me, you know, I'm just relaxing. But at the same time, like, dude, when I was young, bro, like, since you're so transparent, I'll be super transparent. I remember the moment that I realized I was going down a bad path is that, like, I had a homie in my car and they're like hanging with some, like, there wasn't gangbangers in the car, but like we were associated with some other people. And this dude was sitting in my car. He's like, hey, even now thinking about this, it's so fucking dumb. Like fucking, we're getting in the car and this dude was like, hey, I need to go stop by this dude's house. This dude owed me some money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. He's like, but you and the homie who's in the back, he's like, you guys got to back me up. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, for some reason, I just thought this was okay.
Right.
And we go to this dude's house, and me and this dude stand behind him, but like a little bit distance back. Dude goes and knocks on the door, and his mom comes to the door. Keep in mind, bro, we're like 18, 19.
Mm-hmm.
Kids, like, in my opinion, like teenagers. Dude's mom comes to the door. He's like, doesn't even break character. He's just like, yo, is so-and-so here? She's like, no. He's like, well, he owes me some money. You need to tell him when he gets home, he needs to talk to me. And his mom, I remember watching his mom's face. Like, this dude's mom, just face, just like kind of goes scared. And she's like, who are you? And he's like, I'm this guy. He knows who I am. He owes me money. Tell him he needs to call me.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And this is an 18-year-old kid, or 19, however old we were, telling this to a grown-ass woman. You understand?
Right.
And it wasn't even like him, the way he was talking to her. It was the fact that I could see in her face she was scared.
Mm-hmm.
There's this dude, and then there's two dudes behind, and we're coming to this dude's house. And it's like, she's like, I don't really, he's like, nah, you tell him, or I'll be back. And I was just standing there, and I remember getting back in my car, and I felt so dirty. Like, bro, I'm about fighting dudes one-on-one. Like, especially at that time. I was like always fighting in the street, doing dumb shit in the street. But when it came to like, it's like, bro, you're trying to threaten somebody's family right now. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
And I just remember, like, that was a moment for me. I was like, nah. Like, I can't go down this path. Like, I'm not going to be that dude. Like, I'm not going to be that guy. And I didn't stray. Like, I didn't do that anymore, but I didn't stray away from, like, the bad shit I started getting into. But, like, that was a moment for me. I was just like, fuck this, bro. Like, no. Like, I'm not trying to strike fear into the hearts of people's families. Like,
right.
I'm not a goon. I'll stand and bang with you for sure. Like, one-on-one. Like, you know, like, you got a problem, talk to me. Like, or we can handle this. But I'm not going to be a goon. I'm not going to be some fucking goon for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, whew, like, dude, I don't know, man. I never served any time. I never went to prison. Like, I never went to jail, nothing. But I also, for me, I wasn't about that.
Right.
Like, you know, like, fuck. I don't know. Losing the homies, like, losing the homies that I did, the first two homies that I lost were on some, like, gangbanging shit. Like, not even really gangbanging. Like, one of my homies got stabbed to death. Another homie of mine got shot. And then, like, I don't even know, bro. Like, it just, like, it's not a life that's... It doesn't seem like it's worth it.
It's not attractive.
It's not attractive at all.
And, like, I don't know, it's, like, with drugs, there's this saying, or at least when you get in recovery, you know, if you stay on the path I was on, it only ends in 3 ways. Jail, institution, or death. You know, locked up for life, mental asylum, or you're going to die. You know, because you're going to either lose your shit or die or get locked up. It's like that. And I have never met someone successfully stay a heroin addict and live a good life, you know, or all this stuff. It leads to those 3 things no matter what. And I've hit most of them, you know. I'm not institutionalized being insane. I'm definitely a little out there, you know, but, like, I wasn't worth dying for.
Nah.
You know. It's crazy because that's another thing. So I was comfortable with accepting the fact that I probably wouldn't make it to the age I am now, you know. Either way, I probably wouldn't even make it at 32, you know, the way I was living. Crazy. But, you know, it's just, like I said, this all why the foundation is, like, important to me. I want to offer a different solution. You know, I want to show people that, and I don't even want to show them that it's okay to fuck up. Like, you don't have to be perfect off the bat. Just because you messed up one day doesn't mean you can't get back on. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Dude,
like,
big facts.
It's not that big a deal. I mean, it's not the end of the world either.
It's not. It's also, it's just, you know, you can transfer it back to, like, you don't lose, you learn.
Yeah.
You know, you win or you learn.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I think another turning point for me in my life, and this is actually before I went to LA, that, like, I started getting, like, when I got into LA is when I started wilding. Mm-hmm. Like, my mom even says it to me. My mom was like, dude, you were a good kid up until you turned 18. And then she's like, you didn't do shit wrong till then. And then when you turned 18, she's like, you became a different person. And she's like, you fucking started popping off. You started getting involved with all these, like, gangsters. Like, you started doing all this shit, whatever. But then it's like, I didn't even do it in my city. I did it to the city that I moved to,
right,
which was LA. And it's like, dude, I was infatuated with that life. And especially being around, like, Bloods and Crips and, like, Mexican gangsters. And, like, I fucked with everybody. Like, the same way I am I am today, how I fuck just kind of with everybody. Like,
right.
Like, I always say, and I heard this lyric by Rex Life Raj, and he says, if you don't fuck with me, then it's on. He's like, what did he say? He said, if you don't fuck with me, then it's probably you, bro. Like, mm-hmm. And it's like, that's how I feel, because, like, I fuck with everybody. But when I got to LA, that same mentality got me into, like, just sketchy situations.
Right.
And I was okay with it. But I remember, like, the catalyst, like, right before I moved to LA, I did some dumb shit and I got caught up and I got in trouble. I won't say what happened, but I got in trouble. And the night leading up to it, I, like, wilded out against my mom's boyfriend. And me and this dude had some altercation. And then the next day, he called me in on a 5150. Oh. And he fucking, I went to go to school the next morning. I opened my door. There's 2 police officers standing right there. And they were like, are you Kano? And I was like, and they said my last name. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you're coming with us. And my pops was standing there. And he's like, what are you doing? And they're like, yo, your son has to come with us. He's been called in on a 5150. He's crazy, suicidal, whatever. Mandatory 72
hours. Yeah.
Yep, 72-hour lockup in a crazy hospital. And, bro, like, talk about, like, I won't say scared straight, but I was fucking scared.
They put you in that green thing?
Nah, but you know what they did? They took my belt. They took all of my shoelaces out of my shoes because they said those are weapons. Yeah. They checked all my pockets, made sure to have no pencils because that could also be a weapon or a pen.
Because you said you're suicidal, so you got to check for all the sharp stuff.
Yeah, the sharp stuff. And then, but they put me in on it's a 5150 crazy or suicidal. And they said I was going crazy because of the altercation that me and my mom's boyfriend at the time had. And I remember going in and just, like, dude, there was a guy on a payphone. There was, like, a payphone, an old school payphone. like you just had to like you could make a call. And this guy like
I love seeing payphones. It's like seeing someone smoke a cigarette.
Dude, for
like
real.
Antique.
Dude, like
I think it's like I'm whatever. Like I'm not condoning cigarette smokers, but I prefer seeing them smoke a cigarette than a vape.
Dude, 100%.
Like, there's a little bit of cowboy there. The digital stuff trips me out.
Dude, yeah, it's a little weird. But they brand it here now. You know that the vapes are gone.
The flavors, they get rid of the flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was waiting for that to happen. And it's like it was so stupid to me. Like, not to get off track from your story, but like, I like Joe Camel. That was cool. Like, you know, but they pulled him. It's like, because it's advertising to kids. And I was my homie owns a smoke shop. And I was in there. I'm like, they sell Bang caffeine e-pens. And I was like, how is that not targeted towards children? You have a caffeine distributor that sells a nicotine product, and that's like, I don't know, like fuzzy navel. I don't know. I'm just saying like flavors, but you know what I mean? It's like strawberry this or like blueberry that. It's like, okay, that's totally towards kids. Because when I smoked, I wanted to taste tobacco. Now, if I wanted to taste that, I go drink a fucking soda.
Dude, 100%.
You know?
Bro, those e-cigs, I bought one of those things like a couple months ago. And bro, the first night I had it, my lungs were fucking, I woke up in the middle of the night, my lungs were hurting. I was like, what the fuck is in this thing?
Right.
Like, bro, I'll smoke a cigarette all day and like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, it's not fine, but like, you get what I'm saying. But like, back to that story, I remember like, the thing that changed my life about that whole incident was I went over to the payphone. They're like, you can make a call there. I was like, okay. So I'm sitting next to the dude who is making a call, and he's legit like, I'm fucking over this shit. He's like, this is the last time I'm getting locked up. He's like, when I'm out, I'm killing myself. I don't give a fuck. I'm over this. And he's like, yo, put this person on, put this person. And he literally went through a list of all these people he's like talking to. He's like, yo, I'm going to kill myself as soon as I'm out of this. And I'm just sitting there next to this dude. Dude, as close as this chair is right here, I'm literally just looking at him. I'm like, and I'm fresh 18. I'm talking like couple weeks.
Right.
Like still a teenager. And I'm just like looking at him like, this motherfucker's crazy. Like, and he didn't even care that I was looking at him because I was like, whatever. Like, you're about to kill yourself anyways. Like, what are you going to say to me? Like, okay. And I'm just listening. He was like, yo, put my baby on. Da, 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 da. And then like over to the left, all of a sudden, this lady freaks out in her bed. And then like this old man comes in and he's like chilling, it looks like, but he smells like alcohol. You can just smell him from across the room. And he like, they're like, sir, you're 3 times the legal limit of alcohol. How long have you been drinking? He's like, I haven't even been drinking that long. And he was like way mellow, but they're like, you're lying to us. Like, you're tripping. And then like, I'll never forget, like me and my pops don't get along that well, but like, I remember they let him like come to the door and I was like, yo, you got to get me out of here. And he was like, I'm sorry, I can't help. Like, he's like, dude, they like, I came, like, they won't let you out. And I was like, and then they transferred me to like the actual crazy hospital because I was like in a holding tank, and they transferred me to the hospital. And I remember going into the room, and I had like a roommate, and this dude just slept. He just slept during the day, and they were like, so he only sleeps during the day, and he walks around at night. I was like, well, you closed the door though, right? And they're like, yeah, we closed the door so you can't walk around the hospital. And I was like, they're like, yeah, so just be ready for him to walk around at night. And bro, I'd never, like those 3 nights I was in there, I'll never forget. Like, sure enough, he just come and like walk around. He like stood over me, just like looking at me. I could just feel him. I'm just like holding the covers, just like, don't fucking, like, don't do shit, or I'm about to jump up and just punch the fuck out of you or something. Like, but he was like a grown ass man, and I'm like this 18-year-old like kid, you know?
Yeah.
But I remember just like 3 days of that. and man, I remember like going home, and I was so mad at my mom. I was like, I can't believe you let that motherfucker just like send me to this. And she's like, you were wild. And I was like, I'm your son. Like, you're defending this guy, and like whatever. And then I remember like we got back in the house, and like she like walked away, and he was like sitting on. He had this ottoman. He had this like lazy boy. And I remember, like, I watched her, like, walk away. Like, I walked over to that fool. I was like, yo, fool, you do that shit again, I'm going to fuck you up. And he was like, what? I was like, you heard me, fool. I was like, don't be playing with me like this. Like, I mean, I said some other things to him that I won't get into on the podcast. But, like, after that, he stayed clear of my path until, like, I left for college. And then I went to Penn State. And then, like, I dropped out. And then I started getting into some wild shit. But yeah, dude, I mean, I don't know. It like I'm glad I experienced it.
Yeah.
You know, it was like weird and violent, but I'm glad now that I look back and that I experienced those things because it made for
That's where wisdom comes from, bro.
I would say, yeah.
You know?
Without like to put it very simply, because I can't even really put it into words right now. What like I learned from that, because of what I learned it was like life lessons.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah. I like those heavy life lessons. Well, that's why I look at them now. They call them heavy. You know, I had to learn. It's hard for me to be like. I can be empathetic. It's hard for me to be sympathetic. I'm very empathetic. It's hard for me to be sympathetic for a situation, and like sometimes with these kids to me are still like 25 and under. Like like to me that's a kid, and hearing them stress about some of the stuff they're stressing about, I was like, man, I wish I was stressing about that shit when I was 25. But I was stressing about how much time I was going to do. But that's my own fault.
Yeah.
Different situations. So I had to learn to like empathetic's like, yeah, I can't measure my plate to someone else's either. Like, the worst thing that ever happened to you might be a DUI, and mine's a lot different than that. Like, you know what I mean? But again, it's all subjective to the person. But all those lessons, the ones like you went through, or I went through, those are all what causes like wisdom to where we are now, because that's where you learn. Some people can learn. Some people have to bump their head a few times to get it. So.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, even now, man, I've had. It's very different. I feel like because we're the same age. We grew up in a different time.
Yeah.
We're that middle child.
Yeah.
We're that fucking, we're not as hard as our parents were, and we're definitely not as soft as the new generation
my God, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
I went to a Suicide Boys concert, and I've never seen so many people sad to be there.
Dude, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like the generation under us is just like a little wimpy, but
I feel like COVID kind of did it.
Maybe, you know?
Because I feel like during COVID, dude, is like when TikTok blew up too, because everyone's bored at home, right? Making these TikToks. And my TikTok's just a bunch of guys telling me how to be a man. And I'm just like, you can go fuck yourself.
Dude, that's, it's like, also too, is the era of the Twitter fingers.
Yeah.
Like, people are getting so brave behind a screen.
Yeah.
And it's like, even today, I've had to like confront some people that were getting a little out of hand through a phone. And dude, I'm sorry, I just don't play that. Even as a grown ass man, like, I don't need to tell you I'm a grown ass man. Like, okay, bro, you're going to say that. When I see you, we're going to have some words.
Same. I won't do it over. I won't troll you online. I'll hear it. I'll receive it. I'll drive over to you, or when I've come find you, or come see you next, and we'll have a talk.
Exactly.
I've had to do that, in the last few years, and it's okay. To me, that's being a man, though.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, let's talk about it then.
Exactly.
Dude, let's not have a chat. Let's have a fucking talk.
Yeah, well, we're gonna. You're claiming you're a grown man. That's what you said to me. So we're gonna talk like grown men. And like, it's very interesting to me how things have adapted, and it's very interesting how people, when there's no screen in front of them, and then you talk to them, how much more humbled they become.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I have this guy, I call him my gym dad. He kind of has taken the role of my father. He's taught me a lot about business. He gave me his name's also Mike, and I've been training him for 4 or 5 years, whatever. He gave me my first tablet, right? Because everything I did, I didn't have any money. Everything went into like just being able to live, pay for my kid, my food, whatever. And gave everything I did, like programming wise, was done on paper, like in a book. And then he gave me a tablet so I could at least do it like that, right? And then he bought me my first laptop and let me pay him back. He gave me. I never had this before. It was either given to me or I stole it.
Yeah.
And he gave me an opportunity to make payments on it because I had no credit, no money to pay for things all up front. And then when I started, he saw that I was making moves as a coach and stuff like that. I was telling him, like, man, I wish I could fly out to some of this stuff because it'd be really cool to put a face to the product. Because the way I talk to my clients too is like, say you're my client. I was like, I don't got business cards because you're my walking, talking business card.
Boom.
And it's most of the time when people are, I don't really say like I'm doing a sell, but I'm like, if you're trying to hire me, I'm gonna tell you this right now. It's like, I'm not, when you're up there, you represent me and I represent you. So why would I put you up there at your weakest? Like, I'm gonna make you your strongest on game day, promise. You know? So he's a very, the job he has, he's like an SO for like a cybersecurity company or something like that. And like he's always being flown to like Dallas and Canada and New York or whatever, right? But he makes good money and he also has a lot of flying miles. And he says, I have so many frequent flyer miles I can't get anymore. So he would give me his miles to fly out to these competitions so I could at least put a face to the product. Because that would generate sales. You know, it's like, oh, dang, you're the person? It's like, dang, you even flew out here for him? Heck yeah, I need you in my corner. And he kind of helped put me where I am. When I didn't drive for 12 years, bro.
What?
Because I had 3 DUIs. I mean, like, yeah, I drove, but like I didn't have a license. I couldn't even leave the county from 18 to like 30.
What?
Yeah, I was
San Diego County or like Escondido?
San Diego.
Oh shit!
Like my life was Ohio Street probation. You know?
Yeah. We were talking about that.
Yeah, because I never graduated from there. Like I kept catching cases and getting in trouble and stuff like that. But you know, the DUIs is like I didn't have a license for 12 years because I kept getting DUIs. You know, 3-month course, first DUI is 3-month class, right? Took me like 3 years to finish it because I kept going on the run. You know, second DUI was a 3-year, was supposed to be 18 months. Took me 3 years to finish. Didn't finish it because I caught my third. You know, and so just stuff like that, and all the not being able to leave the counties because all the drug offenses and stuff like that. But what was the subject though?
Oh, damn! I was just in the conversation. We're just kind of talking about you didn't leave the county. The guy has flying you around the place.
Oh, yeah.
The face of the product. Face of the product.
You know, I couldn't drive. So yeah, I didn't drive for 12 years. And then like, you know, I had a bicycle. I had a bicycle my way across town. Someone stole my bicycle the day before he actually said he'd sell me a car. But that doesn't matter. Someone stole my bicycles. That sucks. But either way, I went to go get my car. And the car was a 1996 Volvo, like family hatchback thing. It was his mother-in-law's, and he's gonna let me buy it for $1,000. And I went there with $1,000, and he ended up giving it to me. You know, he gave me my first car. It was a beater. It had 200,000 fucking miles on it, but it gave me something. It gave me a way to get to my kid. One, because I was relying on having him dropped off, you know, so I could get extra time with him, go do something, because our fun was going to the grocery store. Then I could actually take him to the beach and do stuff like that. And then when that car died, he hooked me up with a car to lease. Like he knew the person at the lot, you know. I had to get a co-sign on that, which was cool because it meant that my mom trusted me because I was doing right. And he got me this leased car. But I was saying like he's helped me put it in all that stuff. I mean, now I have my own or whatever like that. I have my own 4Runner and stuff like that. I was able to do on my own credit and all that good shit. But either way, like that guy put me helped put me in the position I'm in or whatever. And I forget why we're talking about him. But like, that's just saying. Just
you were saying he was teaching you about business.
Yeah, he just taught me taught me the stuff that I'm in right now.
Mike, right?
Yeah, his name's Mike. Yeah. And I forget why I brought him up, what we're talking about per se, but like he helped me get me into the position I'm in today or whatever.
Shout out to Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Damn. Oh. Dude, it seems like just based on our conversation that it hasn't even been just you who's pulled you out of this or pulled you out of where you were. It seems like there's been a lot of people in your life that believe in you.
Right.
And that want to see you do the best or be the best version of yourself.
Yeah. I was given a lot of opportunity when I was younger, and I've messed it all up. And so when I got my life together and started like building myself back up, anytime I received an opportunity, I took it to the fullest. And like I tell that to people to this day, like, you know, like clients, friends, homies, whatever. It's just when I tell people, it's like there's opportunity in every second, and I try to maximize every opportunity. Looking the way I do, and I say this in the nicest way, I can walk into any room and I can sell myself to anybody, you know, because I have a good story and I have a good testimony, and I walk the walk, talk the talk, and spit the spit. Like I don't bullshit, you know. I tell you what's up very bluntly, but I don't lie to you. I'm transparent. I put it all out there. If I put it all out there, I have nothing to fear. That's why I say what I did. It don't matter, like, you know. But it's like, well, that's why, like, with the foundation, I can go into school looking the way I do, and they're just fine with it, you know. We raised the money very well. I mean, we're doing like, I mean, we've only been around for a year, but like we're killing it. I feel like we're killing it. You know?
Dude, I watch your story all the time.
Yeah.
And I see what you're doing.
Right.
I see how when you're driving to the schools, I see when you're at the school. Dude, it trips me out because, yeah, when I first saw you, I was like, this fool is going to schools. Like, you're helping the youth? Okay. Like, fuck yeah. You know, I'm about it. But I was a little thrown off because I was like, oh, whoa. Like, I mean, I'm a fucking one to talk. Like, I have tattoos. Like, I'm not blasted like you, but like, I got my neck, I got my hand, I got my body. Like, but you look gnarly. You know, I don't look very intimidating per se, but when I see you, and then, dude, I have to tell you, I don't know if I told you this, but I must not have told you. I told the people at Steel Mill and then my friends down here, your graphic on the bag that we did. So we did a collab bag and like you did it with Steel Mill, but I roasted it and we got the labels and stuff done. So for people who don't know that they did the Steel Mill Heavy Breathing Foundation collab bag and I get a single origin Guatemala Huehuetenango for you guys. And you sent me the graphic for the bag and it was Satan sitting on like a fucking like
throne.
A throne. Yeah, a throne. Thank you. And he's sitting on a pentagram that you could see in the thing. And then you have like the two girls on the end. And
the girl on the right's my wife.
The girl on your right's your wife?
And the girl on the left is the president of the foundation.
Dude. Favorite graphic I've ever put on a bag. Hands down. It's not my graphic. I didn't do the art. I don't know the artist. But the fact that I got to put that on a bag, I was just like, this is so fucking badass. And it's like, how do you, I've wanted to ask you this. It's like, how do you pull that off? How do you present that to somebody? And you're like, yeah, we're going to give back to the youth. But you're like, yeah, it's like Satan sitting on this throne.
I mean, it's kind of like, it's just for fun, right?
I mean, yeah, dude. Also now in talking to you, it makes a lot more sense because you've been in bands.
Yeah.
And like punk rock, metal. Yeah. And
like,
I watch your videos too, and there's like, you know, like fucking, you know?
I ain't out there like preaching like devil worship or nothing. It's just imagery. You know, it's powerful, so it catches your attention, and it's cool looking. Like,
it makes you wonder.
You know, but I've always listened to death metal and thrash metal and stuff like that. And when I go to school, like I wear my metal tees. You know, I show you who I am up front, and you can make a decision whether you want to mess with me or not. Like, you know, and I feel like what I do trumps what I put on a bag just to like get some attention. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, yeah, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah.
But I mean, okay, so this is another good question. I feel like so you said that you're you're like musically inclined,
right?
And you love music and you geek out on it, dude. I'm the same way, but with like. I mean, my brother, like I was telling you, my brother was in bands like my whole life. He fucking hated rap. I think he still hates rap, to be honest. But he wouldn't let me listen to rap when I was hanging out with him, so he would always like make me listen to metal. And I was about it. And like even when I was a kid, he would take like Iron Maiden tapes and like try to scare me out of his room with that shit. But I always thought like music also, if you're super into it, reflects who you kind of become.
Right.
And also how you present yourself to the world. Maybe you're not like, you know, if you're listening to like Brother Lynch Hung, you're not a cannibal, you know, yeah. But that
was my first rap record.
Brother Lynch Hung?
Yeah. Cause I grew up in like LA. So I mean, during like early 90s, like you know, everywhere you went was like Snoop Dogg, and, you know what I mean?
Dr. Dre.
And all this stuff's always been catchy.
Yeah.
You know, but like when I got into my metal, I was like one of those metal guys, like only like strictly death metal. Like,
yeah.
You know? And then my homie introduced me to Brother Lynch, which is basically death metal rap.
Yeah.
Like the lyrics, especially Seasons of the Sickness album.
Yeah.
Whatever. I guess there's not many like I'm more like the kind of like when it comes to music, I hear the instruments first and the vocals are almost more a percussive part to it. And that kind of makes sense if you think about like what I listen to thrash, listen to death metal, stuff like that. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know every freaking lyric because it's a lot of it I can't understand.
Yeah, sometimes you can't even understand it.
It becomes percussive. It just becomes another form of percussion with it, you know? But like I can almost recite that whole album, you know?
Yeah. Well, dude, no, that's the thing. It's like, Dude, I'm so glad you said that because, dude, when I think about music, when people hate on rap, they're like, rap isn't even real instruments, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, yo, I tell people now, I used to like push back on it super hard. But now as I've gotten older, I realize like, nah, dude, you're missing the point. The instrument is not the beat that they're like producing, that they're looping. The instrument is their mind and their voice and the way that they're like putting the isms or like the metaphors or whatever, like the way you're able to present what you're trying to say, you're communicating it even better in a clearer form. Granted, there's like dudes like Future, they're like mumble raps, but I'm talking like if we're going back to like Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, the message. Yeah. One of the most groundbreaking hip hop songs ever. Don't push me cause I'm close to the edge. Like, that type of shit. And then when you got Nipsey, it's like the shit he was saying was so real. It was like, bro, like that formed me. I remember like listening to my MC Hammer tapes, like, type shit. Or like, I don't know, man, like that shit to me has formed me. And it's not even just like Nip is like the newest version of that, but like Nas, Biggie, Pac, MC Hammer, like shit, even the Simpsons tape, like when Bart did the Bartman, you know, like they're rapping and it's like their mouth is their instrument. And I think that is just, it's another form. Like if you can appreciate it, you understand it, and then you also reflect it, like the way you like hold your swagger, like the way you do it. But at the same time, I mean, like, bro, like I love all music and I love all that shit. Cause like in skateboarding, like being a skateboarder, there is no boundaries in terms of like who you're going to kick it with. Yeah. Like I might kick it with dudes who look like me more, but I'll tell you right now, one of my best friends growing up was skateboarding was my homie Romeo. And he was punk rock as fuck. This dude literally wore the tightest clothes. He was not in shape. And he would wear the tightest clothes with cut off shirts, like, or cut off sleeves and like studded belts, super tight pants, slip on Vans. And just, we would like skate for hours on hours. We roll everywhere. And I'm wearing like triple XL tees at this time, like size 38 pants. I'm the same size I was when I was 21. It's like, bro, it's, what are you doing? You know, kind of thing. But it was, I don't know, man. I think, like with heavy lifting or whether it's skateboarding or fighting, whatever, it's like you find your tribe, you find your person. Then you find out their music. Yeah. And that's a whole nother thing. And it just adds to the dynamic and, it makes it really, really fun. And like to see how you guys have incorporated that and we translate it over to coffee. Yeah. Bro, it is the funnest shit. Like my favorite part of the bag wasn't even the graphic. It was turning over the bag and having the back. And I made the graphic. I mean, like I took your mission statement, I put it on there, and then I put the graphics on, and then I sent it off to the labels. But I remember making your back graphic to that coffee bag. And I remember turning it over, like, and I was looking at the label and I was like looking at it, and then I turned it back over again and I read the back and I was like, this is fucking unreal. Like like in the best way possible, right. It's just like, how did you get here? Like I'm asking myself, and it's like, you have this bag with like Satan on it and like this sick ass graphic. And on the back, it's like, yo, we're trying to help people under the bar and like do these things and like giving back. And like, it's like, dude, there is no limit to that. Like, that's why it kind of answered my questions, like how you ended up, like you're giving back to the community, you're giving back in these schools. Like, it doesn't even matter what you look like anymore, bro. Like, to put it plainly, like, yeah, you look gnarly, but dude, you're a good person. Like, you're a fucking, like, sitting here talking to you, we've been talking for almost 2 hours. Right. And you're like breaking it down and you're really just being transparent. You're being open, but then you understand it even more. And it's just like, fuck, it's so sick, and it's so sick the way you're doing it your way.
It's almost like, it's like they just like talking about the bag. I can talk about myself in the bag. But like when you look at the bag, you see it, like, oh shit, I want to look at it because it's like it's kind of powerful looking. It's like whatever, but then you flip it around, it's like, oh shit, something completely different than what I thought. Don't judge a book by its cover. My girl, she told me she's kind of like me, where she said like, oh, she's funny because she said she'll say it there, but I think sometimes she's gets nervous being around me in public because I wear these loud ass shirts and I look the way I do, and then she's
A Lizzo shirt.
yeah, well, not the Lizzo one, but like I got like, dude, like I've cut down my collection, but I had like 306 during COVID. I'd start Operation 365, and I started collecting a shirt every day. I was buying shirts every day, like D-Bop and stuff like that. So I had a death metal shirt for every day of the year, and I'm talking about I had like over 20 like crew neck sweaters and hoodies, and I had like 56 plus long sleeves, and then I had a shirt for every day of the year.
All in, like you said, all in, fucking tough.
Now I just look at it, I don't even have any shirts anymore. I got rid of them, like, you know. But what were we saying about it? I'm like, oh, so my girl, she used to be goth growing up, or whatever, right? And but what I say is like, how can you be worried about my presence or a presence or like making a spectacle of yourself? Because I told her, I'll tell her to dress like that, wear that. She's like, I don't want people looking at me. It's like, well, I mean, you used to walk around like a half-shaved head and stuff like that. And she's like, I did that so I knew what they were looking at, you know? And so when she said that, I was like, oh, shit, I'm going to adopt that. And, like, I was very, like, being blasted and stuff, but, like, I still have some of those insecurities. Like I told you, like, not being comfortable in my skin.
Yeah.
So when I walk in a room now, I mean, like, whatever. Like, yeah, like, head to toe, I look the way I do, dress how I dress, whatever. But if you're looking at me, I know what you're looking at. And that makes me feel a lot more comfortable. That makes sense?
Yeah, dude, I was actually going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Because, like, dude, when you said you're worried about, I mean, like, but this is back in the day, like, about people talking about you negatively or, like, talking about you in a negative way.
Right.
Bro, you can't help but look at you when you walk in a room.
Right.
Regardless if they know you. It's like, bro, you have an entire tatted head from jump.
Right.
And you're, like, built. You know what I'm saying? And if you're wearing a short sleeve shirt, you got your hands tatted, like... You know, and you have art. Like I have letters, you know, on my hand. You have art. You look good, and it says heavy across the top of your forehead.
Right.
Dude, I mean, like I think that's so fucking dope, though. Like I know, like it's maybe not for everybody, but like, bro, when I see you walk in the room, like I need to talk to this guy. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So like, at least like with that, I know I'm not saying, oh, they gotta come run talk to me, but I know what they're looking at, and it kind of makes the conversation start easier. You know.
Let's break the ice.
Yeah, it's the easy one. You know how many times I get asked like if it hurt on a daily basis? And I'm like, well, did what hurt? You know, and they're like, oh, I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, no, not to sound tough, but that one didn't really hurt.
It didn't?
Head don't hurt much.
Really?
So the hairline one, I gotta go back and get touched up a bit. But that one, like that one that says heavy, that tickled. And
it tickled.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to sound like tough, but I mean like
no,
like,
funny.
Like, do you have your shins blasted or anything?
Me? No, yeah, I haven't touched my legs yet.
So shins are like, I would say, those are painless too. Like that's like I'm talking about like scratching a scab. Like it feels good, right? And like I think it's because it's kind of the same. It's like bone on bone, right? Now the head, outline was fine. I did 3 sessions on the head. No, I did. We did the snake. No, we did top and sides for like just outlined, and I came back, he outlined the back on the second, and then started some of the shading. And then he came back and he did all the color, did all the black, like solid black, and then came back 4th time for all the color. The 3rd time hurt on the top, but he was like in a bad mood because he had just fired like his assistant or something. And his name's Adam. He's down here at Big Trouble Tattoo. He goes by Honky Konger or whatever. But I mean, he's tatted Run the Jewels, Action Bronson. Like he's a dope ass dude.
He's tatted Action Bronson?
Yeah, and he's tatted he's good friends with Killer Mike. Okay. Yeah, because he's from Boston, moved to Georgia, like Atlanta, lived there for a while. I think that's where he met Killer Mike. Some of his videos he's holding because he makes clothing too called Benchwarmers. Okay. I'll show you this shit. You'll love it. It's like these crazy graphics, like these tracksuits he makes and scarves, these patterns. Some of it's on the hotels here in North Park right now. They've been using him to make wallpaper even. He makes crazy wallpaper? I'll show you, dude. You'll freak out. Like, what the fuck? You'll probably want to get some for in here. But like, I'm dead serious. Like, because he'll sell it to you like in a little frame and hang it up. But like these like hotels being bought out by some like rich family down here, and they were doing all the walls all crazy, and he's designing it all.
Damn.
But yeah, just I've ever seen. Just Adam blasted me up, whatever.
We were talking about him like on the third day it hurt.
Oh yeah, so he had fired a guy, and
So his hand was heavy,
and he was just ranting and raving about it, and there's like all this other stuff. And then some other dude came in the shop to like hang out and like bullshit about his like catalytic converter and his old ass Volvo, and he's like, I hate when people come in here and just talk to me about fucking nothing, and he's just like going off. That fool has ADHD, and he's just going, and I was like, all right, it was a little tender today. That was tender, but other than that, it didn't really hurt. I'm gonna say like on a scale of 1 to 10, everyone over like a 6.
Bro, do you have your neck? Do you have your neck?
No, I just under my chin.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I'm getting my shoulders done like from here to here on Thursday because I have like I'm pretty covered, dude. I don't got much space, so I have like a little space here. My homie's gonna do some like big sleeps looking stuff right there. But,
sick.
Yeah.
When I got my neck tatted, I found myself like asking people like if I was at the gym.
Yeah.
Like more than one occasion, I saw some people that were blasted, and I would just like, I'm not that guy at the gym. I don't want to like interrupt people in their sets. Like I'm not like, hey, let's have a conversation. Like, no, I'm here to work out. But I found myself like, yo, bro, like, hey, like, or like even chicks or whatever. I was like, yo, did that hurt? And they're like, some people were like, it was the most excruciating thing, or like some people were like, whatever. Shout out to my man Scotty, who blasted this part right here. But when he did it, bro, it didn't even hurt.
Yeah.
Like the bottom part right here, like closer to my like collarbone, hurt, and then closer to the back part of my neck when he did like this little part right here.
Yeah. That part sucks. I got
what
the
is that?
back there. I don't know. That shit hurt.
It's like it's the part where
it's
like
real meaty.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
That was spicy.
Yeah.
But other than that, like he was doing all this part, and dude, I couldn't even feel it. I could feel his hand moving, but I couldn't feel him doing the tat. I felt my hand more than my neck when he did it, and the hand didn't even hurt either. I was like, I thought the hand was gonna hurt way more.
Yeah, hand's pretty mellow, you know.
Dude.
But I also think like I try to count. Sometimes I try to count them. I got like 56-ish, 55 to 60, because some I have tattoos on top of tattoos.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, just like covered up with another one. You know, this arm I'm actually blacking out. Like there's a little bit now, but like I'm just getting rid of all this shit that's on it to here, and that my homie's like it's a process because it is. But we're gonna do white stuff on the inside after, like white outline or something, whatever. See what it is.
Whoa!
But I just hate the piece that's on so much. It makes more sense to just black it out.
You don't want to get it removed?
It costs more money that way.
Oh, okay.
I was like get sponsored by somebody, but even then I called to get like a quote on like 4. Like small ones or whatever. And
to be removed?
Yeah, and it was like a 3-year process and like a lot of like, I want to say like close to like $6,000 or something like that. And I was like, I'm good.
3 years?
Yeah, because like when they do the thing, you're like susceptible to like sickness and stuff like that. It like does this crazy shit. When she explained it to me, I'm like, this doesn't sound like a good idea. Like, like breaks it down, then also makes your immunity kind of low. So there has to be a recovery time before you can come back in. So every time you come in, it's like a session, and then you come back in like 60, 90 days later, do another session. So it takes years to get rid of it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so it wasn't worth it.
Dude, I had a homie once in LA who was he started going down the wrong path and kind of got involved in drugs. And he was like a really, really good sponsored skateboarder. I'm not going to say his name, but because people will know who he is. But I thought he was fine. And then one day he showed up at my house for like a party, because I used to throw a lot of parties in LA. And he showed up at my house, and this fool had a neck tat. And dude, he couldn't have been like a super fresh 18, maybe 19. And he had tatted the truck company of another truck company that he wasn't even riding for. Like he was connected. Like he was in all the videos, and he was known for riding for this company. He shows up at my house. He has this other truck company's logo tatted on his neck. And we're all looking at it like, bro, like, what the fuck is that? Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, it's cool, it's whatever. And then like, a little time passes. He ended up coming back over to my house. He came back to my house for like a different party. Like, I don't know, maybe like a month later, maybe even a couple weeks. Shit, maybe even 2 weeks later. He fucking shows up, and he's black. He shows up, and he fucking has like these white dots like where his fucking like the tat of this other company was on, and he was like, I'm getting it removed. And we're like, what the fuck happened? He's like, I was a little fucked up when I did that, like da 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 da. And then he started doing it, and bro, like he got it removed, and he like it created this like white spot, like a Michael Jackson type shit. Like it was really weird. I was like, dude, I don't even know, man. I just wanted to just covered it up. Like I don't know, but he was so young at that point. It was just like it just kind of put a weird taste in my mouth for like removing tats. I think it was like,
just
nah,
stick with it.
Just stick with it. Like don't get tats on a whim. Just like
I have a lot. It's like, like that was the thing too. When I started, I'm like, I get bored, man, I'm gonna get a tattoo. Like I trained a lot of guys who are tattoo artists. I could go in like almost any time. I haven't paid for that many tattoos.
Lucky,
you know,
super lucky.
But like, I have one tattoo that my girl hates. But it's a really good conversation starter. And when I wear my shorts, like you see it, and you can see it if you look in pictures. I have a tattoo right here that says "Meth is death."
Meth is death?
Meth is death. Right?
Why does she not like that?
Because like I said, it's a good conversation starter. I was sitting on a roller coaster ride at SeaWorld. This was pre-COVID, but I was sitting on a roller coaster ride, and this guy sitting next to me. He was like, I'm struggling with that addiction right now. I was like, what? You know? Or I've been at the gym, people come in, it's like, oh my God, like that's like why I'm here. I'm trying to get off meth. I'm like, well, you should make sure you're off that before you come in.
Meth is death.
Meth.
Oh, yeah. I thought you said method is death. I was like,
meth,
what is that?
Meth is death.
Oh, Jesus. It's like, yeah. Like, I mean, hey, yo, that is a conversation starter.
Yeah. I wear it to the schools. They're all right with it. Like a public PSA.
Dude, do you ever find yourself overwhelmed, or like do you find yourself like, what the fuck am I doing, like, and you just like questioning where you're at in life?
No, because I never had what I have right now. I have a lot. I mean, I got my foundation, I got my coaching that I do, I got my wife, I got my son that's happy, I got friends, like long-term friends. I mean, like when you get locked up and stuff, you find out who the homies are, you know. The only thing you have to look forward to is like an email every night. You know, and I've been locked up for like every holiday and stuff like that. Like, you know, who comes visits you. But like when I got, you know, I created like, I have 4 brothers, 2 sisters, right? And why I'm saying this is because family isn't blood. It's not.
100.
And so like what I have now is like I somehow created this family, and I have like a really righteous group of people behind me, like you said, that want to see me do well. And like I'll never do anything to put that at risk. You know? And so like I don't go like, so I acknowledge the work I did to get here, but the thing is through like being consistent and patient and honest and willing to keep doing these things. Like I keep telling like my award-winning formula: honesty, open-mindedness, willingness, consistency, and patience. You do that in anywhere, and it'll get you there. You know, but doing that, I created like, I mean, everyone on my boards like I consider like family. You know, I mean, honestly, like one of my board members is my wife, but I mean, like Rachel, she's like a sister to me. This guy Martin I look up to because of all the stuff he's done. He's been to prison, and he's a professor at Cal State San Marcos, and he has another he has a nonprofit called Operation Rebound, where like he helps people do what happened to him when he got out, where he was scared to go to school. I don't want to say scared, but like, you know, being older, going to school, and like someone held his hand through the process. So that's what Operation Rebound does. Helps people who want to do better and go, you know, leave the prison system and come out and get an education, where he helps people get into like UCLA and stuff like that. That's crazy. And the guy I call my gym dad, he's on my board of directors, you know, and you know, he makes sure that I don't fuck up. He like gives me the business advice and stuff like that. And I have so many people, like I said, so many people want to see me do well. I got so many people that send me love or like hit me up on Instagram, the DMs, whatever, emails even, like, hey man, what you said resonated with me. Hey, what you did like inspired me. Like, that's cool. Like, cause like, you know, to be honest, I didn't do it for you. I did it for myself, as in like to make my, you know, to show myself that I'm doing right, but to see that I'm actually inspiring it, that's what keeps me motivated. That's what keeps me going, you know? So why would I ever, I don't see like, how did I get here? It's like, I went through a lot to get here, you know? I've almost died a few freaking times, and now I'm here, and I'm just, things are good. And a good friend of mine, his name's Rick Simmons, like when things are good, you ride that wave as long as you can, you know. But the only objects in motion stay in motion unless you stop it, right? So I'm not trying to have that wave crash. I'm gonna keep, that's like the chasing the goals thing, you know.
Yeah.
I just gotta do it. I need to be able to appreciate the goals I'm chasing, slow it down a little bit and stuff like that. But no, it took a lot to get here. I mean, we just got our first office space. It's only 100 square feet, and I share it with my president, our social media guy, stuff like that. But like, I have an office space that has a plaque on the door. It says Heavy Breathing Foundation.
Boom.
I used to have a tag, 0067161106. That was my jail number. And it's like that's what I was state property. But now I'm back to being Mike D. And the problem was like when I came back into like what I said, the realm of living, when I gave up all that bullshit and started like, trying to build myself back up. What was I gonna say? I had something good, I forgot. But what was it? Realm of living, the number.
The number, and now you have your plaque.
Now I have my plaque. But I remember, when I came into this, is like I had nothing to look forward to. Now I have all this stuff to look forward to, and as I try to provide other people stuff to look forward to, that's what I do for the kids at the school. I want to give them something to look forward to, something to be proud of. I have so much to be proud of, so much that I earned. It's like I don't ever want to lose it. So how'd I get here? It's like, nah, I put in work to get here, and I'm gonna ride it till the wheels come off. Like, I don't really know what else to do. You know what I mean? And it's really cool. I'm here on a podcast with you talking about just shooting the shit. But like going to Steel Mill and they want to give me free coffee. I'm like, oh well, no, let me pay. That's cool to me though. That people like I don't know. It's like, oh, you're the guy on the bag. I guess so. Like,
Well, dude, no, because that right there is an extension of the fam.
That's
like,
what I
bro,
mean.
I'll tell you right now. My Steel Mill, like, dude, that's why they're on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Like Shay's there. Like, have you met Shay? That's one of the owners.
I've seen him, yeah.
That dude to me is one of the biggest influences of my life ever. Like, he'll never really understand. Like, I know he'll listen to this and like, I know I fuck with him and stuff, but like, and he knows I fuck with him. But
homies
like,
for homies,
But like, like you said, bro, he's a brother. Like,
yeah.
Family isn't blood, and like, I'm not very close with my family because of like shit that's happened in my own past, and like, I won't even get into that. But like, like, dude, it resonates with me so much. What you said is like the family that you create is like the people around you, yo. Like,
right. Not to cut you off, but
no.
Like a lot of the people that I can say that they work with me, and they're part of the thing, or part of the MDSM, part of heavy breathing, or just even part of our gym, is like you tell me, hey man, you inspire me to take a step to do this on my own. Like they've started their own. Everyone in my crew hustles. Everyone in my crew's got their own LLC going on, doing their own business, making their own money, making their own way, We don't say we're self-made because we help each other, but it's like, I have this huge network, And it's really nice, like, I can fly to different states and be welcomed, and I, like, walk in a room and I'm known. Mm-hmm. And it used to be, I walked in a room and you ran when you saw me, or you just walked the other way because you didn't want to talk to me, Now I walk in a room, like, people want to come introduce themselves and say, thank you for what you do, or like, you inspired me for this, or I don't know, just say hi. It's like, that's crazy to me. People want to just say fucking hi to me. Like, why?
Yeah.
I'm not going out of my way to say hi to you because I'm not that kind of guy. Like, what I mean? But I really appreciate you coming up and saying that to me because that makes life a lot easier on me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it is hard for me to go up and say hi to people because I'm a shy guy.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, I will say, man, the family thing that you create,
yeah,
I think is more important than the family that is given to you by birth. Steel Mill for me, and that's another reason why, like, when we had our call and you were like, yo, I wanted to do this with Steel Mill, but like, because this isn't the first time that Steel Mill has like referred people to me. They're like, yo, we want to do a coffee, but like, yo, you go talk to Kano, like, he's our guy, Caffeine and Green, whatever. But dude, to me, like, I was working at Steel Mill and then I started Caffeine and Green, but I still do all of their coffees.
Yeah.
But it's like,
I think I seen you there like on a Monday morning before.
Yeah, always on Mondays.
Yeah.
Always on Mondays.
Like in the bag, you got up and like walked out.
Oh yeah. I'm just like, I grab my shit and then I have my roaster with me, like my other roaster, and then we like take off.
Right.
But it's like, bro, like, they are my family. I fucking love Steel Mill. I love everybody who works there. Even like the new employee that I just met, his name's David. Shout out David. Like, you're a new guy, but like, you're a part of a bigger project, a bigger network, a bigger family, a bigger, like, for me, Like, I don't care where anybody in steel mill is at in the world. Like, if I see them, it's love. And it's like, no matter what, like, I will always be there. Like, I told Shay before he moved to Austin, I was like, bro, if you guys fail, I fail. And it's not in a meaning like I'm going to lose money. Like, sure, money, like, money's fucking money, whatever. Like, toss the fucking money.
Yep.
What I care about is, like, the people who are behind it and the love that I have for all of them. Giles, Anna, Riley, David, fucking, I think the new other guy is Conrad. I'm sorry if I forgot his name. But, like, you know, Lanny, David, Dana, I mean, and then, like, Figgy and Colin and, like, I don't even know. Like, those people, like, I might not see them all the time and I might not be kicking it with all the time, but they're, like, the way that they've affected my life and the way they've changed me is for life. And, like, that's what, like, dude, when you say, like, just, like, family isn't blood, like, I mean, it might be blood, but it's just, it's not the same when you, like, not self-made.
Right.
Because, like, I could say I'm self-made, but my mom helped me out a lot. My friends helped me out. They give me opportunities. So, like, I try to give back.
Right.
And I always try to make positive things for them and to help them win. Because when they win, I win.
Yeah.
And when I win, they win.
Yeah.
It's a rising tide raises all ships, man. And I fucking, you know, I really feel that I feel very grateful that we're able to do that for you. Because to me, like, yes, we're different companies, like Caffeine and Green and Steel Mill, but because I'm doing the coffee for you and it's through Steel Mill, like, it's all under one umbrella, bro.
Yeah.
And it's all pushing for the better. And so I just want to say, like, thank you for the opportunity for letting me do that for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, G. Well, dude, we've done a little bit past 2 hours. Like, we could wrap it up and then just let everybody know where they can go to, like, follow you guys on social. If they can, like, if you have a website where they can go, if they can contribute or if they can help out, all the deets.
So my personal Instagram is Mike MDSM for most dedicated strength methods. Mike MDSM. There's a lot of info on there about all my coaching and stuff like that. For the heavy breathing accounts, the Instagram is This Is Heavy Breathing. It'll pop up real quick. And then we have a give butter there, which is like, you know, like a GoFundMe link tree where you can donate if you want to donate. We have a website too called heavybreathingfoundation.org. It's being updated right now. I mean, it's good. It's current. You can go there. You can apply if you feel like you'd be a good fit. You can check out what it takes to be in if you're interested. You can sign up to volunteer there. You can see everything that we're doing. Like, I have upcoming seminars and stuff like that. Again, it's heavybreathingfoundation.org. And then you can go to thetruemdsm.com, which is my coaching website, which also has all my apparel and stuff like that. But yeah, that's it.
All right.
That'd be it.
Dude, Mike, I always tell people, you know, once you're on the podcast, you're never not going to be on the podcast again. Nah, dude, anytime anything's going to pop off or anything, you just want to come back, shoot the shit, whatever.
Yeah. When we do our next drop together, we'll come back.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Peace.
Peace.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mike. That was such an amazing conversation. Man, that was a heavy one. And I definitely have to say, you know, just thank you so much for sharing with me, brother. And wow, just, yeah, thank you again. And guys, like always, everyone around the world in the United States, Australia, Poland, Germany, Chile, Brazil, everywhere, Mexico, Canada, United States was popping. Guys, thank you, every single one of you. I am truly grateful for everybody who continues to support Caffeine and Green week in and week out, whether it's, you know, buying the coffee, buying merch, listening to the podcast, sharing it with your friends, whatever. I appreciate all of you so much. And just stay tuned, guys. We have amazing shows coming up for 2023, and I'm just super excited. So happy New Year, guys, and I will see y'all next week. Peace!